Last week, the Idaho Vandals posted their first victory of the season. Tonight, Sun Belt Conference play begins as the Vandals welcome in Georgia Southern, a team that's won 2 straight games, running over their opponents literally. It's the Vandals and the Eagles, and it's next.
This is an SWX Sports presentation. The University of Idaho Vandals take on the Georgia Southern Eagles.
A beautiful fall afternoon turning into evening in the Pacific Northwest, and it's Dad's weekend at the University of Idaho. Tailgating going on prior to the football game between the Idaho Vandals and Georgia Southern. Inside the Kibbe Dome tonight. I'm Bud Namick along with former University of Washington tight end Bill Ames. We'll have all this for you between the defending champion Georgia Southern Eagles and the Idaho Vandals. And dress rehearsal's over, Bill. Time to play for keeps.
Well, I'll tell you, every game counts, of course, but you can feel it here inside the Kibbe Dome. Once we're in conference play now with the Idaho Vandals coming off of that big win a week ago, Bud, and they want to repeat that. They're going to start knocking heads early.
2 different attacks today. The Idaho Vandals love to air it out. They've got a long line of outstanding quarterbacks. Matt Linehan trying to etch his name into that line.
Well, he really is, and he's gotten off to a great start. Only a sophomore. It's taken him a while to get going here in his first year and a half or so, but really playing well, a passer rating of 133, so doing a lot of very good things for this Vandals offense.
Jay Ellison will try to run the football and lead that rushing attack for Georgia Southern.
Well, he really will, but they'll throw it a bit too. They threw it 17 times a week ago. Nice to have him back for the Eagle offense.
Georgia Southern and Idaho, Sun Belt Conference opener. We're going to have the kick for you right here next. College football on SWX is brought to you by Dishman Jeep, Spokane's Jeep headquarters. And by Noodle Express. Express yourself with signature dishes exclusively at Noodle Express. Call ahead, pick up, or dine in at Noodle Express. Bud Namick along with Bill Ames. We see the iconic water tower outside of the Kibbe Dome. Bill, we saw the Vandals knocking heads in warm-ups. That's not something teams usually do, but Paul Petrino wants his guys to start faster. It worked last week against Wofford.
Well, it sure did, and it really paid off. But at the end of the game, just getting it up over the end zone for that final score, and that was all about just running into people, creating some holes up front, and good hard running by those running backs. We saw that in warm-ups here today. They chose, winning the toss, Idaho did, to take the ball first. They want to get after it early.
Vandals with the return men ready to go as they will have that football first, as Bill told you. Alex Hanks to kick it away. 7 of his 18 kicks have been touchbacks. This one driven deep, and that will be touchback number 8. Tonight's kick brought to you by Dishman Jeep. So Matt Linehan, the 6'3", 214-pound sophomore, making his way out with the Idaho Vandal offense that has a big offensive line led by Dallas Sandberg, a 305-pound senior who's got his eyes on playing at the next level, Bill.
Well, they're going to play against some speed tonight with this Georgia Southern Eagles defense. They fly around, do those white jerseys, those big guys up front, going to have their hands full.
Empty backfield, out of the shotgun for Linehan and the Vandals on first down. Vandals 413 yards of total offense per game. That's 9th in the Sun Belt. Little pressure and Linehan will be sacked. 9th sack of the year allowed by the Vandal offensive line, and the coverage outstanding.
Well, the coverage was fantastic, and what makes this so impressive for Georgia Southern, they'll only bring 3 here on first down. You got 5 to block 3. You've got to be able to keep them out. Linehan may have held on to it just a bit too long. If you see that pressure, you get up inside and take off.
See the numbers on Linehan right now on record pace, completing 71% of his passes for 825 yards. The treble, 3 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. Manley is the fullback. Penny, the running back who has the football, and picks up a couple. It's going to set up a 3rd and long, and not the situation you want to be in on your opening drive.
Absolutely not. But again, the way they throw the football, they've got a lot of weapons on the outside, so Georgia Southern certainly aware of that, but right, 1st and 2nd down, but certainly want to get more out of it than we've seen from the Vandals here early.
Vandals haven't been great on 3rd down so far this year, just 33%. Number 10 in the conference, as you see number 10, the quarterback. Matt Linehan, if the name's familiar, his dad Scott was an outstanding quarterback here, now the offensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, a lot of 3rd and long here for the Vandals early in the season. Goes to your point of 3rd down conversion issues.
Linehan again has to run away from some pressure, and he's going to come up shy of the first down marker as a flag flies. These are the 2 least penalized teams in the Sun Belt Conference. But not good news as we see the injured player for Georgia Southern. Bill believes a hold on the Vandals as well.
And I would expect this might be declined. Linehan not able to pick up that first down.
That penalty is declined. 4th down.
Take a look at some of the players who are going to be factors in this football game, at least the way we look at it so far. A guy who's only played 2 games but averaging 150 yards receiving per game, Desmond Epps for the Vandals.
Yeah, Desmond Epps. They weren't able to get the ball to him on that first series, but he's certainly been a guy that's been electric. Not a very big guy, but difficult to cover. I would expect Georgia Southern to see what they can do man-to-man early, but if need be, they may help with some bracket coverage later in the game. He's had a great start. And then on the other side, number 37, Antoine Williams at the linebacker, the Sam linebacker position, meaning he'll play to strength for this defense. 24 tackles already this season. And so he's going to anchor this defense. And you can see early they fly around quite a bit. The injured player just getting off, unfortunately not under his own power for the Eagles.
Logan Hunt, one of the players who will be a part of that rotation on the defensive line if he's healthy enough to come back. Our impact players tonight brought to you by Noodle Express. Express yourself with signature dishes exclusively at Noodle Express. Austin Rico to punt it away for the Vandals. 44.8 yards per kick. That's number 2 in the Sun Belt. Averaged over 47 yards a kick a year ago. Derek Keaton, the return man for the Eagles. Again, taking a little while to get Logan Hunt off the field as he's not able to put any weight on that leg.
Not bad return yardage average for Georgia Southern, right around 10. Rico's going to want to get some nice hang time on this punt. Try to scratch that Kibbie Dome ceiling.
And boy, that one's blocked. Rico trying to pick it up, does, whether you tackled at the 15. That was Ironhead Gallen with his 3rd block kick of the season. His real name is DeShante, but he loves contact so much, Bill, they call him Ironhead. Gotta like that.
Well, he came through with an iron hand, but I'll tell you, it just really was a matter of you had 4 white jerseys and only 3 Vandals there to block them. I'm not sure Rico could have done anything more. You see, they actually just come at him with 3. Breakdown and protection there for Idaho. Gallen comes untouched, and a great job of just getting that hand right onto the foot of Rico. Big play on special teams early for Georgia Southern. Not a great start for the home team.
Not at all. Great position for the Eagles as they'll start on the 20 of the Vandals. The quarterback is Kevin Ellison, the junior out of Cornelia, Georgia. Outstanding running back to his left. Matt Breida will tell you a lot about him through the evening. And it's Ellison on the keeper. Picks up about 6 on that first down. Down to the 11-yard line. Gain of 5, call it for Ellison.
Boy, and Armand Hawkins really did a nice job there to trip him up. Otherwise, that's a score. Looked like Idaho snuffed that out pretty well, but again, you see the athleticism early here from Ellison.
Again, Breed in the backfield on the opposite side. He'll get the handoff this time and try the left side, bounces it out. The Vandals do a nice job stringing it out.
Well, they really do, and Idaho can move on defense now. They can run. They're a little undersized up front at that linebacker position, so you expect Georgia Southern just to try to go right after them. There you see Breida try to bounce it out. There's your guy Ellison. Only one game this season. That was a week ago after missing the first 2.
Put together some nice numbers a year ago. Completed 7-11 against the Vandals last year in a win in Statesboro. Just the third meeting between these teams. Once in the old 1AA FCS playoffs, and then last year in the Sun Belt. Third down, Ellison cuts back. Chris Edwards says, no you don't. And that's a heck of a job by the Vandal defense after the turnover.
Really bails out their special teams to be sure, but I'm not sure Ellison shouldn't have pitched this football. It didn't look like a designed run for him. Again, somewhat inexperienced this season, only coming off of the one game a week ago, coming into hostile territory here in Moscow. He may be a little rattled early. Certainly had plenty of time to stay with that pitch and try to get it to the outside.
Alex Hanks trying a 33-yard field goal, and it is up and good, and he is 5 for 5 on the season. So the turnover cost the Vandals, but the defense keeps the Eagles out of the end zone. It is 3-0 Georgia Southern, 11:38 left to play in the opening quarter in Moscow, Idaho. Some of the students enjoying the weekend with Dad's Weekend here in Moscow, Idaho. Hoping the Vandals can make it back-to-back victories after the win here at home against Wofford, if they're going to make it a second straight win. Bill Ames, let's look at some of the keys of this contest tonight.
Well, but I'll tell you, for Georgia Southern, I think there's 2 key things, and we've already seen an example early. Number 1, control the tempo. They want to run the football. They want to keep the clock moving, keep this high-powered Vandal offense off of the field. Turnovers are huge. They've got, I think we talked about early against West Virginia, they were -3 in the turnover margin. They're now, -5. Now they're +3 after these last 2 games. So they can force turnovers. And again, we saw it on special teams. For Idaho, they've got to punch it in once they get it near the goal line. They've struggled with that early, settling for short field goals, and then early down defense. Try to keep those first and second down offense of Georgia Southern to minimal yards, force them into 3rd and long.
Petty and Duckworth are the deep men. Duckworth a yard deep, brings it out. Straight up the middle, cuts right, and gets out just past the 20-yard line. So we'll see if series number 2 goes a little better. What did the Vandals learn from that first series?
Well, I'll tell you, they've got to protect. The first series, you saw Linehan attempt to throw it twice. One turned into a sack, the other into a run. So they've tried to throw the football, but just great coverage downfield and nice pressure as well. So I think it's the protection up front dealing with the speed of the Georgia Southern defense.
Georgia Southern has a big defensive line. Darius Sapp goes 330. Jay Ellison goes 310. They clog the middle. Linehan has Jake Manley in a wing position. Linehan going to keep it. Forced out of bounds by Matt Dobson, who had a big interception against the Vandals a year ago, but a little wrinkle for the Vandals.
Well, it is, and you need to take advantage of his athleticism. He can certainly run it. What you don't want him to do is to be running in between the tackles. So really nice play design, read option. Does a nice job of getting out of bounds and picking up some nice positive yardage here on first down.
Picked up 4, 2nd and 6. Desmond Epps in the slot on the left of the formation. Pass out, caught by Penny, and he's separated from the football. Beautiful defensive play by Darius White, and that ruled incomplete.
Well, just a great break on the football. And Linehan needs to get that ball out of his hand maybe a bit sooner. You can see it was looked at it, didn't have a lot of zip to it. We'll look at it again here. Just floats a little bit. Good clean hit there, and I think if he actually just looks up, he might have been able to pick that ball off.
Once again, the Vandals facing a 3rd down situation. A little better this time than it was last time. It's 3rd and 6.
Looks like the Eagles want to bring pressure.
Linehan going to the audible. Over the middle, incomplete. In and out of the hands of Desmond Epps. With Dobson covering. Epps looking for the flag, but isn't going to get it.
Well, Dobson's a big physical defender. I think he got there right about the same time the ball did. I'm not so sure Epps couldn't have caught that football. Had both hands on it. I think just the contact right at the time the ball got there distracted him just enough. And again, another 3 and out for the Vandals.
See the Vandals do a better job protecting, giving Austin Rico a little time to get this kick off. He can be a weapon with the strength of his leg. The Vandals feel coming in, they had to outscore Georgia Southern, and it's tough. This time Rico gets away. A good high driving spiral. Keaton calls for the fair catch and makes it at the 23-yard line. Georgia Southern has the lead 3-0 over the Idaho Vandals. 10:52 left to play in the opening quarter in the Sun Belt Conference opener.
It may surprise you to know.
With a 3-0 lead, the Idaho Vandals trying to draw up some protection for their quarterback. Georgia Southern is going to run the football, and Matt Breida can do that.
Well, he absolutely can. He is the key to their offense along with Ellison. But Breida comes off of a big game a week ago, 410 yards rushing already in this early season.
Ellison to throw. And they rule it a catch. B.J. Johnson makes the catch and a first down for the Eagles.
Boy, great job there by Johnson to go down and get it. And this is a part of their offense they just didn't have the first 2 weeks of the season. They get Ellison back. Didn't throw it a ton a week ago, but he threw it well, and you can see he's very accurate with the strong arm.
5th catch of the year for Johnson. Breida, the lone back, 2 tight ends. Breida puts the shoulder down and picks up just a couple. You mentioned he has 410 yards coming into this game. That is more than 25 FBS teams, including the Idaho Vandals.
Well, we talked about Epps getting a lot of attention from the Eagle defense of Georgia Southern. Desmond Epps. Well, Breida is going to get the same level of love here from this Vandal defense. They're going to know where 36 is at all times. You wonder if Ellison is thinking that as well, may hold on to the football.
Johnson comes in motion on 2nd and 9. Flag on the play.
Yes.
Ellison, the keeper, doesn't get much. What'd you see?
Well, you're going to get an offside on defense. I think he had one jump. I think that's Chris Edwards, 24, who came across a bit early, but Bradley may have also been lined up. I looked down there, looked like he was well over the football, and that referee was starting to go for his flag before the ball was snapped. Edwards came in and
Offsides.
made it obvious.
Defense, number 43. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
Yeah, so they're going to get Bradley actually for lining up in the neutral zone. You see there at the bottom there, number 43, just outside that tackle. And they could have gotten Edwards as well.
Kevin Stone, the referee for this Sun Belt Conference officiating crew. Something a little different with the officials this year. We'll talk about that a little later. Second and 4 for Georgia Southern as they near the midfield stripe. Breida looked like he was down, but keeps going into Vandal territory and picks up a first down. Got to wrap him up.
Well, that's the thing, bud. You watch enough football, you listen to football coaches, they tell their running backs never stop moving those feet. And you can see Breida does a great job of it here. He's always keeping those feet moving, stays upright. And if you don't wrap that kid up, he's going to make you pay. Picks up a big first down for the Eagle offense.
Dorian Clark had to come from the corner along with Chris Edwards to make the stop on first down. A little stack in the backfield now. All kinds of time for Ellison. Incomplete. Trying to get it to Johnson with Dorian Clark on the coverage.
Really nice job there on coverage. Looked like, again, we might have seen a defender get there just a bit early, but I think a good no call. See, they're just coming down maybe a little bit early, but it's apparent to me that they're going to let these defensive backs play tonight, which is a great thing to see.
Willie Fritz, in his second year as the head coach at Georgia Southern, he joked that after Ellison threw it 17 times last week, he said, hey, tell Paul Petrino we're going to try to air it 60 to 70 times this week. Ellison will throw again. Too tall for Derek Keaton.
Well, he's capable of getting out there and throwing it for sure. Big, strong arm that time, just overthrows. They're going to take advantage of him as a passer, no question about it. He's clearly got some talented guys on the outside.
3rd and 10. You still have to respect the ability of Breida to pick up a first down in this situation.
Well, and I'm not so sure, especially the way this Georgia Southern defense is playing, that we're not in 4-down territory here for the Eagles. So you may see them try to just get enough here where they make it a respectable 4th down try if they don't pick up the first.
Vandal crowd trying to be a factor. Pressure. Ellison got rid of it, and Johnson has the first down.
Well, I'll tell you, that's 2 great catches from Johnson here on this drive, but goes down for the first one. And here, a real tough one in traffic. Actually, ball thrown behind him, and he goes back and gets it. Watch this. That's with his hands. That's a very nice catch in a big moment of this game. 3rd down and 10.
First down at the 30 now. Vandals jump. No flag. Throwing it again. Longoria. Did he make the catch? No, it's intercepted by Clark. Are they going to rule him inbounds or not? Let's see.
They're going to talk about it. They're going to give it to him. They'll certainly have an opportunity to take a look at this. But what a great play here by Clark. Just a jump ball situation. Longoria. And take a look, see if that foot was able to come down. Oh, absolutely. Yep. Great job by Clark. Keeps control all the way to the ground. This Vandal team needed that in a big way. See if the offense can now build off of, really, but 2 great efforts from this defense.
They have done an outstanding job. So the Vandals, after the Clark interception, as you see it again, Longoria had his hands on it first, and Clark just took it away from him.
Yeah, just a great athletic move. I thought Longoria certainly in a much better position. They are going to take a look at this as Linehan goes back and talk to Paul Petrino, but I don't think there's any doubt about it, but this play is going to stand.
Yeah, it certainly looked as though that foot touched down as you get another look at it again.
Just great ball skills.
The only thing we can't see there is possession, but it sure looked like he had it wrapped up.
Well, you know, and the referee that had the best view of it there was given the signal early, and I believe he came up immediately and called it. And he had the best angle to see if there was. The ball moving slightly there. So perhaps on that left hip, that may be something he wasn't able to see.
Is confirmed. First down, Idaho.
We had a great shot of it, as you saw, and that's what the officials were looking at as well. And ironically, all the players on the field were looking up at the big board here, making sure that it held, and it did. So Matt Linehan will bring the Vandals back out. He's 0 for 2 so far.
Interesting that Georgia Southern decides to take a shot there. They're having success throwing the ball underneath, running the football. Sometimes you can outthink yourselves as a coach.
Vandals only 8 yards on their 2 opening possessions. And here they are backed up at their own 6. Completion. Gets a little extra room. Ruben Muella makes the catch, the sophomore out of Bellevue, Washington.
Yeah, and get the ball out of his hands quickly. They've forced him into some hurried throws early. Here, nice job. Linehan sets up, puts the ball on the money, and important first down there, as you said, Bud, to give him some room.
And confidence for quarterback to get that first completion. 2nd and 5. Try to push it up the middle. Good push by the offensive line for the Vandals. They keep playing through the whistle, and looks like with that spot they'll have a first down.
And that's an advantage for this Idaho offense. Those big guys up front, they should be able to move the pile a bit, and they do there on that first down. You go back to what we saw pre-game with Idaho running that Oklahoma drill, just butting heads early. I'm not sure I've ever seen that, but Paul Petrino truly believes that his team needs that to get off to this early start, and you see a benefit of it right there.
So Matlock, Woods, and Sandberg, the interior of the line, do a good job against the 2 big guys for the Eagles. Linehan, time has a man, Muella wide open. Tries to make a move, and does he pay for it with a big-time hit?
And I'll tell you, he's
the guy you featured earlier, Antoine Williams.
And he can lay it on him, can he? And Paul Petrino, speaking of laying it on you, he's out there to Muella early after he goes down, telling him, get upfield, young man. Don't be doing that dancing, because you're going to lose yardage and take some punishment on the end of it.
Paul Petrino, 3rd year as the coach of the Vandals, looking for win number 4. Here goes Elijah Penny to the 25 with a flag flying. It's interesting, we've seen as many flags as we had, Bill. As I mentioned, these 2 teams, the least penalized teams in the Sun Belt, each averaging just barely over 3 flags a game.
I think now we're in conference play. This is a good indicator, right? Now the flags start to hit the field. And we're talking to that Georgia Southern coaching staff.
Holding. Offense number 61. 10 yards from the previous spot. Replay. 2nd down.
So they got the center, Stephen Matlock, the junior out of Capitol High School in Boise.
Yeah, and it's a problem when you're playing against a big, quick defensive front. It's hard to keep them in front of you, especially with some of these, these longer developing plays. And a lot of times those offensive linemen, they just hang on for dear life. Certainly, coaching staff of Idaho going to need to try to solve for that.
Jamal Johnson in on the D-line now for the Eagles. Here comes the blitz. Beautiful pass against the blitz. Kalen Hightower. Boy, sometimes you dial up the right play at the right time, Bill.
Well, I'll tell you, that absolutely. The coaching staff watched a lot of tape this week. I think they have a pretty good feel, it appears anyway, with this play, that they know when Georgia Southern's going to come with pressure, and they dial up that quick screen. And boy, Hightower, you can see that he's got quite a bit of speed there.
He's got to be excited to play this game. He's out of Georgia. Linehan. Epps for the first time. Good 8-yard gain on first down. Looks like Linehan's getting some rhythm.
Well, exactly. Rhythm is key for a quarterback. And remember, this drive starts inside the 5-yard line. First play there was a quick pass, and they're just going to stick with it. Force Georgia Southern to come up, press a bit more in coverage, try to take that away, force them to go over the top.
2nd and 1 from the 37 right now for the Vandals. Saw Linehan keep it earlier, this time not as successful, but enough to pick up the first down.
Yeah, good read there from Linehan. Dobson, the safety, made a good read and came up, but again, 2nd and short, didn't need to pick up much. Linehan, you could see him just growing game by game as a leader of this football team.
Drive started on the Vandals 6. They're now out to the 40. Their first 2 drives less than a minute in length. First resulted in a blocked punt that led to a Georgia Southern field goal, and that's the score, 3-0 right now. Under 5 minutes to play, opening quarter. Epps open, catch, just shy of midfield.
And they're just going to keep taking what Georgia Southern gives them here. They're backing off on coverage, so Linehan's just very satisfied to throw the ball underneath and let these receivers go down to get the football. And you continue to do that, one of these guys is going to break it for a long one.
What does Georgia Southern do defensively to try to offset that now?
Well, I'm not so sure they shouldn't just come up and press in coverage. They're getting good pressure on Linehan. They're going to go the run here, but I think moving forward, you might see them come up and cover, try to get a little bit more of a check there right at the line of scrimmage, slow down some of these routes, and give those defensive linemen, linebackers time to get after the quarterback.
Elijah Penny all the way down to the 46-yard line of Georgia Southern, a 5-yard gain, and that's another Vandal first down. Linehan now 5 of 7 for 46 yards. A couple of rushes as well. Eagles were bluffing the blitz, and Linehan changing the play call. Or is he? Or is he bluffing?
We'll see. Definitely we'll find out right here.
Wants to go deep. Epps is open. Linehan can't believe it.
Well, they dialed up the right play. He had a chance to look over at Paul Petrino, and I think Petrino and the guys upstairs may have seen something there with Epps, and that's the risk if you're Georgia Southern. If you're going to try to take away that underneath passing game, you're going to have problems over the top, and if they can protect for Linehan, then they're going to have a great time getting it to these speedy wide receivers. Really a missed opportunity there for the Vandals.
Very big missed opportunity. 2nd and 10. Getting some work done inside. Elijah Penny bobbing and weaving, getting inside the 40.
Well, you made a comment about the rhythm of Linehan. I absolutely agree with that. But also, I think this offensive line is starting to figure it out a little bit too. They're playing well together. They're starting to own the line of scrimmage here on this series after really doing nothing in the first part of this first quarter.
Timeout call, Georgia Southern. Defensive coaches, Jack Curtis, the defensive coordinator, sees that momentum, and he's going to slow things down a bit with 3:18 left in the opening quarter. You see Paul Petrino and Matt Linehan with the conversation. Vandals on the move, down 3-0. A good game of cornhole as you're tailgating before the game on Dad's weekend. Dad and daughter having some fun. Isn't that the tailgate you stopped by and grabbed a hot dog on your way in?
Well, I had a bit of a walk from the parking lot, so I saw a few of those. I got beat in one game, so I wasn't able to stick around because you lose, you're out. Probably good for you. I'd still be out there trying to win a game, for crying out loud. There's a skill to that thing, bud.
There you go. Vandal fans hoping they have a reason to celebrate soon. This is a drive that is 10 plays, 55 yards, almost 5 minutes off the clock for the Vandals, and they're now facing a 3rd down and a long 3. Deion Watson can't hang on as the flag comes in. Watson, a big target, 6'4", went up for that ball like his dad used to on the basketball court for the Vandals.
Oh yeah, Deion Watson, boy, he was a heck of a basketball player. No, I did not. I think he was from California. I think he was from the California area and then moved up here. Great basketball player. I'll tell you, living there in the Cortland area.
Off defense, number 19. 10 yards.
Deion Watson's one of those guys, bud, who's just he's been here the entire Petrino era. He's been a steady force for this offense. Sometimes forgotten, I think. We talk a lot about Epps and some of these other speedy guys, but he and Buck Cowan, number 13, who had a huge game a week ago, are two very steady receivers who are big targets and hard to take the ball away from. You saw an example of it there, smaller corner, just trying to climb the ladder.
Yeah, I think he's kind of a tweener between a receiver and a tight end as he's grown, as his career's gone on. The hold against Georgia Southern Vandals at the 29 of the Eagles. Linehan looking for Epps. Got him at the 5.
Well, what a heck of a throw there from Linehan, but once again, great protection from this offensive line. A much different group than we saw early in this first quarter, giving him great time, and you see the corner for Georgia Southern here is just going to get lost. Darius Jones Jr. in pretty good position, but you got to turn your head. Epps sees it the whole way, and you can see why they like to target that young man.
Contrary to popular belief, our camera was not in on the tackle.
Again, just a great job. Goes up and gets it. So important for a receiver, but not to let that ball come to you. Go up, pick it out of the air. Epps not a very big guy, but he certainly does play big. 5'10 senior. Young man's had an eventful summer and an early fall. Lots been said about him, but one thing you certainly know about the guy, he's going to bring it every single Saturday, and he's meant an awful lot to this football team.
comforting for a quarterback like Matt Lenahan to be able to throw to a guy like that. Matt Lenahan, a sophomore. His dad is number 5 on the all-time passing chart, 7,018 yards. And if Linehan has an average game tonight, he's going to end up number 10 on the all-time charts by the time this night is over.
And only a sophomore, huh?
First and goal, Vandals at the 5. Penny in the backfield. Manley, fullback, is lined up on the left of the formation, along with Buck Cowan. Keep an eye on Buck Cowan.
Absolutely, keep an eye on 13 here.
Penny hurdled over the first line and gets down to about the 2.
And this is the part of the field, Bud. We talked about it. It was part of our keys to the game. This is where Idaho struggled. Austin Rico is certainly a great kicker, but they don't want to rely on 3 points down here. You get the ball here, second down, inside the 5-yard line. It's touchdowns. If you walk out of here with anything less, it's a win for the defense.
Penny again, this time hit behind the line of scrimmage, able to fall forward, gets near the 1-yard line. Good penetration by Antonio Glover, the strong safety.
Boy, you're not kidding. He came off the edge and just did a great job, flattened out his angle. You see it there and got right around those ankles. There's nothing that Penny could do. And once again, here we go, 3rd and goal from the 2 now. Idaho with a decision to make. Do they open it up a bit? And they've got 3 tight ends in the ball game.
That's Manley in motion. Again, Penny hitting the backfield. Again, Glover in there, but falling forward to at least the 1, but now it's decision time.
I mean, you almost get the feeling that Paul Petrino is just challenging his offense and his offensive line to get in there and push some people back, and you're going to see Austin Rico come out here once again. So again, this is the 6th time this season they've been forced in this situation where he's going to have a field goal of 20 yards or less.
Trying to tie this one up with 1:16 in the opening quarter. Rico 5 for 5 on the year. Buck Cowan the holder. No problem at all for the young man out of Spokane, Austin Rico.
But as we said, Bud, that's a win for the defense to be on the 2-yard line, second down. You've got to score touchdowns. You've got to figure out some sort of way. If you're just going to try to maul them and run right over them, that offensive line has to get a little bit more nasty in them and allow those running backs room. Otherwise, switch things up and maybe go to the air.
3-3 with 1:03 remaining in the opening quarter. Let's continue our look at the impact players in this football game, brought to you by Noodle Express. Express yourself with signature dishes exclusively at Noodle Express. We've talked about Matt Breida. He can get it done.
Well, he certainly can get it done. Hasn't really broken out here tonight yet, but we expect him to get many opportunities, so keep an eye on number 36. And for Idaho, it's Chris Edwards, the linebacker, number 24. He's really the emotional leader of this defense. Plays on the outside. You'll see him come off the edge quite a bit. Loves to fly around and make plays, and as you can see, leads the team in tackles. And a lot of that is due to the fact that he's a flat-out hustler. He's not in the middle of the action much of the time. He just flies around and usually finds where the ball is.
Even though it only resulted in a field goal, quite a drive by the Vandals. This kick to the 2. Nice coverage by the Vandals. Derek Keaton brought down at the 17-yard line. Mr. Trotter's become a special team star for the Vandals, Kendrick Trotter.
He's flying down there. You could just tell this Idaho team, we've had a chance to watch them here over the years. A lot more team speed, and a great example of it on special teams there. And credit Rico as well, a nice high kick. Usually he could easily drive that thing through the end zone, but he gets more loft on it, pins him right there at the goal line, and gives those coverage men a great opportunity to get down there and make a play inside the 20.
Fabian Upshaw's in at quarterback as you see Willie Fritz, the head coach, on the sideline. Handoff up the middle. There's Breida. We talked about him. He's at the 40. He's at the 50. No one's going to catch him. For Matt Breida, that is the 10th run of his career for a touchdown over 50 yards.
Well, and you go from a situation with Idaho settling for 3 and first play out for Georgia Southern. They bring in a new quarterback, and we're both looking at the new quarterback thinking, what are we going to get? I'm just going to hand it off to Breida and let him go the distance. great speed in the open field, and really no safety help there for Idaho. So once he got through that linebacker level, there's nobody there.
That's the thing you have to worry about if you're Idaho. Their defense has been gashed on the ground. 126th in FBS in rushing defense. There's 127 teams that they keep stats on. So very quickly, Georgia Southern jumps out to a 10-3 lead on the Vandals now with 47 seconds remaining.
Well, just a little trap there. You've got two players pulling. You've got a guard and a tight end. Both pull. Idaho gets lost there in the middle a bit with all of the movement up front, not watching their keys, and it just creates a big seam there for Breda. And we knew that they weren't going to be down for long with this offense, the way they run the football.
Well, I think to your point of the field goal last time in the red zone for the Vandals, I think they felt coming into this football game they were going to have to outscore Georgia Southern to win this football game just because of what we just saw, that quick strike ability from the running game.
Well, and I think the running game, the other thing that it does is it takes time off of the clock, so your opportunities are fewer. So in those opportunities, you got to get 6 on the board. And so Idaho, I'm sure if they get down there again, you just wonder if Paul Petrino will start going for it on 4th down. They get down in that part of the field.
Doesn't take too much time off the clock when you can go 83 yards in 11 seconds.
Well, the good news is the offense is feeling pretty good about themselves. Those linemen may have wanted more of a rest, but Linehan's got to be feeling good about the way they move the football. Certainly found some things offensively, throwing underneath and then hitting Epps over the top as well. See if they can repeat it here on this series.
Duckworth brought down at the 12-yard line. That's an art for a kicker to be able to hang it up in the air, get some hang time on it, and have it come down right at the goal line. Because you said just about anybody can in this day and age can hammer it out of the end zone.
Yeah, I think that's they start moving those points in the field where you kick off from, thinking that they're going to reduce the number of returns. Well, the coaches are pretty smart guys. They find kickers that can just hit those chip shots like you do on the golf course, and put them up there high in the air, and again, let those coverage guys go down and do work.
Matt Lenahan sends the linemen and the rest of the gang out of a huddle to start this drive. They won't always huddle. Starting from their own 13. Open in the flat. Good first down gain. Antoine Williams, the tackle.
Yeah, Petrino calling a really nice game here. He saw the coverage came up just as we suspect. They come up and go with more press. And what they do is they just take advantage of that, get the back out of the backfield, force a linebacker to cover them. And that's a tough job for any linebacker to try to cover a man like that.
Clock ticking down at the end of the quarter. Duckworth, who just caught that pass, will run it up the middle and pick up just a couple, and that is most likely the final play of the opening quarter. Duckworth has 3 touchdowns last week against Wofford, sophomore out of Orange Park, Florida. So the first 15 minutes is now in the books in the Sun Belt Conference opener between Georgia Southern and the Idaho Vandals. Georgia Southern with the lightning bolt from Matt Breda for the touchdown to break a 3-3 tie. They lead at 10-3 at the end of the opening quarter in Moscow. Mentioned it's Dad's Weekend on the University of Idaho campus. It's also Ag Days. And President Chuck Stamen handed out a couple of awards, Ag Awards, between quarters. And the president of the university, Chuck Stamen, will be joining us at halftime. Georgia Southern has a 10-3 lead over Idaho after a very quick 87-yard burst by Matt Breda. Vandals with 115 yards of offense in the opening quarter, 123 for Georgia Southern based on that run particularly.
Yeah, it's early here, Bud, but I really believe that Idaho needs to repeat what they did. Maybe they don't get points on the board, but certainly keep the positive momentum going here for this offense.
2nd and 8 from their own 27 for the Vandals. Play fake. Here comes pressure. Linehan gets rid of it in time. Epps can't make the catch. And there's the flag. Darius Jones had no sight of the football, and you'll get the flag every time on that.
Well, I'll tell you, Linehan took a real shot at the end of that play. We'll keep an eye on him to see how he's doing. He got up and was moving a bit gingerly, and I think what they're going to get here is they're going to get White for perhaps
Pass interference. Defense. 15 yards from the previous spot.
I think what they're going to get White for is not turning back for the football. You see Linehan, boy, he took a real shot there at the end of the, right as he let go of the football, and White just never turned around. Not sure there was a lot of contact.
Well, because of the hit, the ball underthrown a little bit too, and that resulted in that contact. Second penalty on Georgia Southern. Vandals get a first down at the 42 now. Fresh set of downs to work with. Penny. They just keep pushing. Turns into about a 4-yard gain.
Linehan wants to get his guys going here. Get them back to the line of scrimmage, see if they can get a little pace to this offense.
Linehan wants to go deep to Hightower. Glover with a nice job to knock that one away. We got another flag on the play.
Looks like that could be in the area of holding perhaps, or something in the interior for sure. But you talk about Hightower. What a great play. That's how you play it. Turned back for the football and got a hand up. Actually, the legal man downfield.
Third penalty on the Vandals.
Ineligible man downfield. Offense, number 67. That penalty is declined. Third down.
So you hear that, 3rd and 6 now for the 46. Lenny Richardson just hustling off the field. What a great story. Went to Georgia Southern as a freshman to play football. Left for 4 years, went into the Army. Was a gunner on a tank. And came back now to play defensive end, and he's a senior. I'm not sure 3rd and 5 means as much to him as it does to some other folks with what he's been through.
You think anybody on that defense complains about 2-a-days with that guy on the team? My goodness.
Vandals need to convert a third down. Linehan has time, has a man open if he can get it to him, and he can't. But are they going to throw the flag? No.
Well, he's behind the line of scrimmage.
I think was he behind it or just over it? If he's behind, you get away with that.
Yeah, it may have been too close for the official to throw the flag, but again, Linehan, I think he's better served there just to throw the ball out of bounds. You're not going to pick up a first down, even with the completion there, and he took, again, another shot here at the end of the play. Just throw it out of bounds, get your punter out there, and see if your defense can't come up with a stop. You're going to see it here, just 2 wicked shots. And
Ironhead got him that time.
Yeah, it's. I don't think Matt Linehan's going to live through too many more of those types of hits.
High wobbly kick that will bounce near the 20 and settle right near the 20 as it's downed by the Vandals. 10-3, Georgia Southern has the lead. They'll have the football left. 13:56 left in the first half as we continue from Moscow, Idaho. Sun Belt Conference opener, and one thing that's a little different in this day and age, Bill Ames, 8 officials instead of the usual 7. The addition, the center judge, and that is Martin Hawkins, the center judge. And he takes some of the duties that the umpires had. And the hopeful situation there is that the umpire doesn't get run over as often after they set the football and then jump back in behind the line of scrimmage on the defensive side of the ball.
Well, you know, Bud, with the speed of the game and you have 22 players out on the field, I think it makes perfect sense to get another striped shirt out there to ensure that things are done the right way.
Fabian Upshaw's at quarterback, and again he hands it off. This time it goes to L.A. Ramsby, and Ramsby with a pretty good first down gain out to the 28. That's a gain of 9. It'll set up 2nd and 1.
Yeah, trying to take a look out over that Georgia Southern sideline to try to spot Kevin Ellison. Haven't been able to pick him out just yet, but we were told that Upshaw would get some snaps here today, so not a complete surprise to see him here in the game, and certainly successful early with this offense with him in there.
Vandals bounce around on the D-line on this 2nd and 1. And Ramsby will get the first down. L.A. Ramsby. His first name is Alfred. It became L.A. because his dad is Alfred, and so he was Little Alfred growing up. They shortened it to L.A.
I think growing up, that was probably a nice thing for that young man to have happen to him rather than be called Alfred at school. L.A., much cooler for a young guy to be walking around the halls.
First down, Eagles. Upshaw for Johnson, and he makes the catch. Fabian Upshaw, a junior, a transfer from Florida International, with the completion.
Well, nice throw on the run there from Upshaw. He hasn't had a whole lot of success early in this season, and I'll tell you, Johnson's a guy that can just go out and get the football. That's the 3rd time here in this first half that he's had to get those hands into an uncomfortable position and make a play.
Probably taking advantage of the fact that the Vandal defense keying when they know Upshaw's in the game, it's most likely going to be a run, but now they have to be a little more honest. The pitch, here's Breida. Gets a block from his receiver, maybe even a hold from his receiver. There was a little jersey being stretched there. Not enough to throw a flag, though.
Well, I'll tell you, I think the reason the flag doesn't come out is at the corner for Idaho, Armand Hawkins in good position, but really didn't make much of a play towards the football. He looked like he was just happy just to keep that receiver in front of him and not try to break off of that block to make a tackle. So perhaps a bit more effort from Hawkins will get that flag.
Up the middle, Breida can't quite keep his footing. And Breida's a little banged up. He hit hard on his hip, and you saw him flinch right away when he hit. And boy, that's horrible news for Georgia Southern if Breida is banged up and has to be out of this football game for a while.
Well, you're not kidding. He did go down hard, and it looked like he might have landed. From up here, it was hard to tell, but he might have landed on the foot of one of his offensive linemen. And so perhaps either it was maybe right there in the rib cage area. Maybe the wind gets knocked out of him. I'll tell you, when it's the star running back because those trainers are out there before. Yeah, it was right there. It looked like he just landed right on the.
Awkwardly on his right shoulder, though.
Foot or something. He's up.
Had 155 yards and a receiving touchdown against the Vandals a year ago.
It looks like he has some kind of a harness there on that right shoulder, so perhaps just a little jolt there from an area that's been bothering him. It looks like he's still got the helmet strapped up, so we'll expect to see him back in there soon.
Picked up 4, it's 2nd and 6 from the 30. Georgia Southern up 10-3 and trying to threaten again. Upshaw. The pitch, Ramsby, running room. Hurdles a man and then goes out of bounds. That was athletic.
Well, it certainly was, and a great decision there from Upshaw. I mean, you can see why this young man's in the game. He does a much better job running the option than Ellison. Really freezes Edwards there, and then at the end of the play, you would think defenders had learned by now not to go low like that with your head down because you're going to end up on a highlight reel somewhere.
Went right over Kendrick Trotter. First down at the 16 in the red zone. Up the middle, a true freshman, Wesley Fields. He was an option quarterback in high school and optioned his way to about a 3 or 4 yard gain there.
And all of these running backs for Georgia Southern that we've seen have great vision. They don't try to just burst it in there. They're going to wait and see how things develop and then get through the hole as quickly as they can. Nice job from this group of running backs for the Eagle offense.
2nd and a long 6 now. Vandal fans trying to help out the defense. Fields right side. Barely gets back to the line of scrimmage. How difficult is it for a defense to adjust when you have different quarterbacks coming in?
Well, I think throwing the football, if it's a team that likes to throw the football, it's not that much of a problem for the defense. But here, it's not the throwing ability of Upshaw that's creating the problem. It's his ability to make decisions running the football. I think with Ellison, Idaho was bailed out by some poor decision making. Now you've got a quarterback who comes in, and is running things much more smoothly, and that's creating problems for these Vandals.
Georgia Southern 1-2 on third down. Upshot, a throw over the middle, and it's incomplete. Threw it behind his intended receiver, Derek Keaton.
But that's what you give up if you're the Eagles now. Somebody who just isn't as comfortable throwing the football. You think if Ellison's in there, much better opportunity to complete the pass. But credit the Vandal defense. That was a 3rd and 7 and really forced Georgia Southern into throwing the football.
Hanks will try the field goal, made one earlier. This will be a 30-yard attempt from the right hash. Plenty of leg. And it is good. Georgia Southern increases its lead to 10, 13-3 over the Vandals. 9:45 remaining in the opening half in Moscow, Idaho. Southern on top, 13-3 in the Sun Belt Conference opener. Georgia Southern has won 10 consecutive conference games. They won 8-0 in the Sun Belt in their first year, joining Nevada and Marshall as the only teams to win conference titles their first year of competing at the FBS level. And with those 10 straight conference wins, 8 in the Sun Belt, 2 in the Southern Conference, that's the 3rd longest streak in the nation. Ohio State has 24 straight Big 10 wins. Florida State, 22 straight wins.
And maybe one of the only teams in the country at any level, Bud, not to be tempted to change their uniforms. This is a uniform that you've become very familiar with, regardless of the level they've been at. You know when Georgia Southern's on the field. Big numbers on the helmets. It's just very simple. I love it.
6-time 1AA FCS champions.
And they grow them big in Georgia.
Yes,
you can
they
see
do.
it right there. Big old 99.
Jay Ellison. He's the small guy at 310. His partner Darius Sapp goes 330. You know, we haven't even seen him targeted yet. Buck Cowan. See if
especially with
Linehan
this
can go that way.
Yeah, with this pressure, you would think that'd be somebody they'd want to take a look at.
Had over 100 yards receiving last week. Quick toss out of the backfield. Penny the catch.
And again, just nice and simple here on first down. We saw them with a similar type of throw in the last series. Take advantage of that running back out of the backfield. Good hands and a nice pickup there. 5-yard pickup on first down is exactly what you need with this offense right now.
Duckworth, first down. Out to the 40-yard line.
I'll tell you, Mason Woods does a great job here. You see it right there, allowing Duckworth to get around the outside. Some nice pressure from that Georgia Southern defense, and he just rides them right out of there. Doesn't try to do anything spectacular, just does his job. Nice job, Woods.
Moella and Epps on the boundary side of the field. Hightower, lone receiver to the left, as Linehan looks over the Eagle defense on first down. Going deep, Epps is open, and he got him this time. Touchdown, Idaho.
Well, they've been trying to take shots, just missing on a few, but there aren't too many people on that defense who are going to be able to stay with Desmond Epps. And that's the price you pay if you're Georgia Southern. If you're going to come up and press in coverage, you don't do your job, he's going to get right by you. You see Desmond Epps with all kinds of speed there. Tay Hicklin had no chance.
Rico on to attempt the extra point out of the hold of Cowan. Tacks it on. It is 13-10 now. 3-point ball game as the Vandals come right back with 8 minutes and 52 seconds remaining in the first half of this football game. And Bill, I was thinking as Linehan went back and needed time to throw deep after being sacked early, great protection by the offensive line.
Oh, absolutely, and you see the separation that Epps has. I mean, they knew coming in that he was a guy that was a target for Matt Linehan, only playing in 2 games so far this year, but with 25 catches. You knew that he was going to be a guy that they would target, and so Georgia Southern seemingly comfortable just going with single coverage out there. After that long play, they may rethink that. 4th catch of the day for Epps. Well on his way to another big day.
And Matt Linehan has moved past Eric Heisaw, I should say, on the all-time passing charts at Idaho. Mike Harrington is up next. And Linehan about 60 yards away from moving into the top 10 career-wise. Is that the son of Raleigh Fingers massaging his handlebar mustache in the crowd, cheering on that Vandal touchdown?
His dad may not have come this weekend. I'm not sure Dad would have been too happy with that, but it's a good-looking mustache.
Rico to boot it away. Got it right on the Idaho Vandal logo and drives it 2 yards deep. The collision, and Keaton gets out just past the 20. Were you ever a special teams guy, Bill?
No, only when they needed. Really, there was a lot of desperation when they put me out there. Long snap, that was kind of my thing. But never on a kickoff return or coverage team. They only allow the tough guys to do that sort of thing.
Let's see who comes out at quarterback for the Eagles this time. It will be Ellison. And Breida is back in the backfield after being banged up a bit earlier.
Yeah, good sign there for the Eagles.
3-point Eagle lead. They have the football with 8:47 to go, first half. Ellison, the pitch to Breida. Well, he just makes it look so easy, doesn't he?
You know, just so fast. And the problem for Idaho is they've got to respect that inside running game. And that's going to hold them just enough so that when Breida catches this ball in stride, nice job there by Ellison getting out there. And you know, we'll see if Ellison doesn't do a better job here now running this offense, especially the running game. You saw Upshaw do a good job. Sometimes you get on that sideline, you get a chance to take a look, settles you down a bit, and you come out and be more effective in what looks to be some kind of a plan for Georgia Southern with these quarterbacks.
Breida wanted to go inside, nothing was there, bouncing it outside, but very nice pursuit. Jordan Grabsky does a nice job, the sophomore out of Bradenton, Florida.
Yeah, just did a nice job just reading it, came up again. Didn't try to do anything spectacular with this, just strings him out to the sideline. And still, positive yardage there for the running back.
Mike Bresky, the defensive coordinator for the NFL, said they really wanted to press and play the receivers tight on the outside. When they run an outside run like that, run the receivers upfield, it put extra pressure on the linebackers to make those plays?
Well, absolutely. They've got to fly down the line of scrimmage along with the safeties as we get a stoppage in play.
And that's a good thing for the Vandals because I don't know if Ryan Longoria would have been able to catch that ball, but if he had, he would have had a long way to run. Third penalty on Georgia Southern.
And looking at some of the defenders from Idaho, they're talking to one another. They're happy that penalty was called because there was definitely some kind of a breakdown in communication with that coverage had that play been able to continue.
Do those breakdowns happen more in zone or man-to-man?
I think a lot of it's zone. Man-to-man, you know who you got. And so I think, Bud, when you're in zone, though, you're dependent upon everybody being in the right space. And if that's not communicated well, as you can see, that leaves quite an opening.
Breida. Nope, it's Ramsby this time. Gets out near the 40-yard line. Little change of pace on 2nd and long.
Big play here for the Vandal defense, forcing him to a 3rd and 7. They're able to force him to a field goal. The last time Georgia Southern had the football in this situation, you just get the feeling they'd love to get Matt Linehan back on that field right now if they can.
Vandals fake a blitz. Ellison changing the play. 3rd and 8. Caden Ellis showing blitz. Here he comes on the outside, number 3. And oh my, look at the room for Ellison. Finally goes down at the 40. Gave him a little head fake like he was going to slide and then kept going and picked up an extra 5 yards.
And I just think that was a heady play by Ellison. I'm not sure that was a called quarterback draw, but he saw the pressure coming from the outside. No Mike linebacker there in the middle, and without that space, he just takes off and probably has the freedom to do so. Great read there from Ellison.
Big Jeff Ward, a tight end, lined up in an H-back position. Right side of the formation. That's Johnson, the man in motion. Wide open, the catch by the freshman Fields, and he hurdles over, man, keeps his feet, and finally knocked out of bounds by Brock Westlake at the 21-yard line.
Boy, great execution there from Georgia Southern. Ellison keeping his eyes downfield. That really forces Idaho to play that middle of the field, then comes out. Great catch there from the running back Fields, and more athleticism jumping over defenders to extend the play.
Just the second time he's caught a ball out of the backfield. True freshman. You know he's got to be talented to get into the rotation as a true freshman. First down. Ellison throws, and that one almost picked off. Kendrick Trotter about a half a step late. It almost looked like his foot didn't quite catch the turf when he put the foot down to try to make the cut to get to the ball.
Yeah, just kind of a clumsy play all the way around. And some of that could be, offensively anyway, for Georgia Southern, a little bit of a timing issue due to the fact that Ellison just hasn't been with this offense much, except for that first game back a week ago.
255 yards of offense for the Eagles, 194 for the Vandals, and with nearing 6 minutes left in the first half, it's 13-10 Georgia Southern. Been an entertaining football game. Ellison picks up 3 or 4. Play slowed down initially by Chris Edwards, the senior linebacker.
Yeah, much better job there from Idaho against the option, forcing Ellison to keep it early, flying out towards the running back. Breeden now back in the ball game. 3rd and 8. Again, we've seen them be comfortable running the football in this situation.
Keaton and Johnson left of the formation, Longoria to the right, and Breeden in the backfield. Ellison wanted to run, and just a jump pass that wasn't going to do anything at all.
Well, I think it was another one of those situations where I think his first thought was to go ahead and try to run it up the middle just like he did in that previous 3rd down, and Idaho a much better job of spying the quarterback there. Really no chance for Georgia Southern. Another small victory here for this Idaho defense, forcing the field goal.
Hanks 2 for 2 so far. This will be the longest of the day, 35 yards. And knocks it through. Georgia Southern tacks on another 3 points, 16-10. The Eagles with the lead over the Vandals, but in a ball game that has seen the offenses march up and down the field, the Vandals will get the football back. 5:13 remaining in the opening half of the Sun Belt Conference opener.
Well, there's a young man, folks, that we talk about great stories, and many people in the Inland Empire, Spokane area are aware of Jace Malik, a star football player at West Valley High School in Spokane. Signed a letter of intent to come and play football at the University of Idaho. Shortly after that, diagnosed with cancer. Has gone through a tremendous struggle, and hats off to Paul Petrino and this staff. Honored the scholarship, made him a part of this team, and he's been at every single practice, attending school, is doing well. Talked to his high school coach, Craig Whitney, several times, given me updates. Not out of the woods completely, but certainly been through a lot. Lost a leg throughout the process, but out here on the sideline for his Idaho Vandals, cheering him on. And I'll tell you, just a great story and a great young man.
And wish him nothing but the best. And as a cancer survivor myself, I along with Jake's message of making sure that you get yourself tested if you see anything that you're concerned about. I had an opportunity to play in a Coaches versus Cancer golf tournament earlier this week, and it's great to hear the success stories like Jace Malik.
Yeah, just very much a part of this team. Has had a great attitude and a spirit throughout, and I had a chance to watch him play high school football, and well, there wasn't too many kids better at the high school level than that young man going
and
through
just
West
the
Valley High
impact
School.
he's had on this team without playing with him. Matt Linehan brought to tears talking about him and what he means to the team.
Yeah, only a freshman, so they've got a few more years of him, and he wants to be a coach, and what a great opportunity for him to just sit there and watch Coach Petrino and the rest of the staff and what they do and how they lead a football team, and he's a natural leader himself, and I'm sure he's going to get that opportunity.
Another decent first down gain for the Vandals. 2nd and 5 now. Linehan rearranging the furniture before the snap. Here comes the pressure, sets up a screen, and it's incomplete. Nice job on the corner by Darius White to just be in the middle and gum things up.
Yeah, he really did. And I think that there may have been a little bit of timing there, perhaps because the pressure got to Linehan so quickly. For Idaho, I think it was intended for Hightower, and may have got caught up maybe a little too much. Certainly Petrino thought he didn't execute the play the way he should. He was in his ear immediately.
Vandals are down a receiver, Jacob Sannon, with a pulled groin. Guy's caught 11 balls this year. Not playing tonight. Big 3rd down and 5 for the Vandals in Linehan. Has some time. Caught, Penny. Defender falls down. Vandals with a 1st down in Georgia Southern territory at the 46.
That's the 3rd time that we've seen a running back get out into a route against linebacker coverage, and those linebackers just having a difficult time staying with the running backs. Nice hands there. These running backs for Idaho do a nice job catching the football, and once again, when Idaho's going well offensively, it's that offensive line who's giving Linehan time.
24-yard gain. Clock running, 4:15 to go, first half. Vandals down by 6. Epps catch, another 1st down, or close to it. Phil, how important is it right now, end of the half, for Idaho to answer down by 6, knowing that Georgia Southern's going to have the ball to start the 3rd quarter?
Well, I think it's awfully important, and if you can do it with as little time on the clock left and not give Georgia Southern an opportunity, so much the better. But again, it comes down to the fact that I think touchdown is going to be huge here for Idaho. Get into the end zone. Don't settle for field goals.
Mark, just a half-yard shy. You'd like a long pop here on 2nd and 1? Or do you just get the 1st down?
I think you give it to the quarterback and just try to sneak it over the 1st down marker. But that's me.
That's what you'd call.
That's just me. I'm not sure what exactly as they had planned, but it's enough to move the sticks. Typically, though, to get to your question, I love them taking a shot down the field, especially with the speed that they have. Epps is creating all kinds of problems for these defensive backs in Georgia Southern.
Yeah, they've had huge opportunities. Once they cashed in, the other ball thrown just a little too far. But they have 1st down at the 35 of Georgia Southern now. Paul Petrino bouncing around on the sideline trying to get Linehan's attention about something.
I'll tell you, we need a camera just on that guy because I think he's the hardest working man out here.
Penny, again, keeps those feet moving and gets inside the 30. Right next to Paul Petrino on the sideline, the quarterback coach signaling in the plays. You don't see him right here as you see Petrino chatting up his guys. There he is just behind Petrino. Bryce Erickson, the son of Dennis Erickson, the quarterback coach. There's a good look at Bryce.
He's doing a great job, and he'll be a head coach here one of these days, getting a great opportunity to learn from not only his father, but other great coaches as well. Nice rhythm here. We've used that term a few times in the first half. Great rhythm right now for this offense. They need to keep this going, though. It's right about they get inside that red zone. That's when things start to slow down and they're not able to maintain. Paul Petrino wants them to keep moving.
2:32 left in the half. 1st down Vandals. They have 2 timeouts remaining should they need them. Been able to run the ball pretty well. Linehan time going deep for Hightower, and it's incomplete. Hightower had to turn into a defensive back that time because Darius White had the better position on that ball that was underthrown a bit, and White's banged up.
Well, and I'll tell you, Linehan missed on one there. He had Jake Manley sitting about 10 yards from him, absolutely wide open. Manley could have caught this ball, turned around, and walked into the end zone from about 20 yards out. That's how open he was. Instead, Linehan takes the shot. Sometimes you just have to take what the defense gives you. I don't know if we'll get a chance to see it here or not. Manley there just on the right side of your screen. You see where he's just absolutely wide open, and Linehan's feeling good about the deep ball right now. Rightfully so, but he missed an opportunity there with Manley.
Darius White able to run off under his own power. There's the Vandal offense huddling on the sideline during the injury. Now they wind the play clock. Vandals have 40 seconds to get out, snap the football. There's Deion Watson. Big fella's out there.
And this is where you'd think, you brought it up earlier, Watson, Cowan, guys like that. You get down to this part of the field, you're going to try to throw some kind of a jump ball. Why not to those two? Nobody in that defensive backfield who can match that kind of length. And Watson spread out to the right.
He's matched up with a 5'9" corner in Caleb Williams. See if Linehan elects to go that way. How about putting it on the ground to that side? Cut back. Duckworth picks up a couple on the play.
On that decision on first down by Linehan now looms large because you come back with 2nd and 10, short run. Now you're back to that 3rd and long. Again, don't need to go for the home run here. Just move the sticks. Plenty of time and 2 timeouts for the Vandals.
Vandals 1 of 5 on 3rd down, and unfortunately a few of them have been longer like this for Vandal fans.
Georgia Southern showing cover 2 right now. 2 deep safeties. Make it a little bit more difficult to try to throw something down the sideline.
Over the middle to Mr. Epps. Couldn't hang on.
Now they had the right play, just a little bit high. And for only the 2nd time this year, Austin Rico comes out and is going to be somewhat tested with the field goal. Longest is 40 yards this year.
And this will be a 40-yarder, would match his season long. Of course, all he did was kick a 63-yarder in high school. 67. It was long. Out of the hold of Cowan. Plenty of leg. And he knocks it through. So the Vandals don't get the touchdown that would have given them the lead, but they do put 3 on the board to answer the field goal from Georgia Southern. Now a minute 27 remaining in the first half. 16-13 Georgia Southern. It was a close game between these two in Statesboro, Georgia last year before a 4th quarter pick 6 by Matt Thompson really helped Georgia Southern get that lead and end up winning that football game.
Yeah, you got to like how Idaho's playing here. They've made some mistakes early in the half, but to be only down 3, they have to feel good about it. But of course, a minute 27 still remaining. We've seen how explosive Georgia Southern could be in the run game. So certainly don't expect them to come out and sit on this football. This defense for Idaho is going to have to be alert. 2 timeouts of their own for Georgia Southern. And a good field goal kicker on their own right.
You know, when you're facing a passing team in this situation with less than a minute and a half to go, you can umbrella your defense a little bit. What can you do against a running team?
You know, I think you just have to continue to play the way that you have. With the fact that they've got the 2 timeouts, I think with Georgia Southern is going to make them comfortable not feeling like they have to do something that's outside of their element. So they'll be able to come back, run the football. I think for Idaho, just continue to play, 8 in the box. Georgia Southern doesn't look like they're capable of really throwing the ball down the field with any great consistency. So I would expect it just more of the same for the Eagles.
Rico been a busy man, punting a couple of times, field goals and kickoffs. Drives this one deep. Football leaving the Kibbe Dome, going through the tunnel. Wanted to get out to the halftime tailgate parties early.
Now, first guy out there congratulating Rico, the head coach Petrino, and that's great to see. You know, now that he's established himself in here his 3rd year, a lot of positivity. Feels good about his football team. He's starting to get his guys in there that are making contributions to the team, and you can just see that the enthusiasm and the effort is so much greater than what we'd witnessed over these first couple of years of his tenure here at the University of Idaho.
It's Ellison at quarterback. He's 3 of 8 so far for 54 yards. Matt Breida beside him, 7 carries, 119 yards. Of course, the big scamper, 87 for the touchdown. They've done a good job on Mr. Breida for the most part, except for the one big run.
Yeah, it was really that one trap play that for the long gain. That other than that, they've done a really nice job. Watch Johnson here, number 12. He's come up with some big catches early if they decide to open it up here.
Chris Edwards bluffing the blitz, then pops back out.
It looks like Georgia Southern, surprisingly to me, Bud, is just happy to let clock roll here.
Well, they know they get the ball to start the 3rd quarter, too, so. Ellison, the pitch to Ramsby. Cut back, across the 40. That'll stop the clock while they move the chains.
And they may now start to think about timeouts. 43 seconds still remaining. And since Ellison's come back into the ball game, he's run this option much more effectively. Didn't seem real sure of himself early, but has definitely settled down.
Clock running, 30 seconds left in the half. Longoria the catch. Should be just enough for a first down in Vandal territory, and Longoria calling a quick timeout as well, I thought. perhaps not.
Maybe just looking over to the staff to see if they want to call one, but they're just going to go ahead and go with the play here as the clock runs inside of 20 seconds.
Ellison hit as he throws, and it's incomplete.
I just really question the clock management here for Georgia Southern. They've been moving the ball well. They started this ball with a minute 20, or started the drive with a minute 27. Now inside of 10 seconds, 2 timeouts still remaining, and you would think that they would be a little more judicious with the time here.
I would think some Eagle fans wondering that as well. Now the timeout taken by the Vandals. They want to make sure that this thing stays a 3-point game heading into intermission. 16-13 Georgia Southern. It's been a very entertaining football game.
It really has, and I think well played. We haven't seen a lot of flags. You talked about the fact that, both teams not very penalized throughout the season. And for the most part, it's been well played. Some mistakes here and there, but, good hard hitting, big plays, just almost like a series of runs in a way for both of these teams with some of the big plays that we've seen.
Vandals have had the luxury of starting off at home quite a bit this season. The only road game at USC. Next week, they're at Arkansas State. Then a week off and then another travel to visit Troy. Louisiana Monroe at home on the 24th, then at New Mexico State, the lone victory they had in the Sun Bowl a year ago.
I'll tell you, there's some frequent flyer miles being banked here at the University of Idaho football program. They're all going all over the country to play people.
Only Hawaii flies more to play football. Ellison under pressure, incomplete.
Yeah, great pressure there from the freshman, Ellis, coming off the edge, true freshman.
His dad Luther knew how to do that, didn't he?
He absolutely did.
Played in the NFL for 14 years after a college career at Utah.
A great player at the University of Utah.
All right, draw up a play with 6 seconds left in the half. Bill, what do you got? Some razzle-dazzle for us?
Well, I think 6 seconds. I mean, if you want to, you go something short, call timeout, try a long field goal, or perhaps try to take a deep shot. Idaho's certainly trying to protect the goal line right now.
As you see with a wide shot, an umbrella defense. Ellison being pressured. Runs away from Bradley. Hail Mary. Knocked down. And that's the final play of the half. So the Vandals will take a little momentum with them into the locker room.
Well, they will. I mean, they're going to be on defense to start the second half, so it was important that they not allow Georgia Southern to score points. For the most part, they've played awfully well. The one big run for Georgia Southern certainly hurt them, but definitely some things to talk about. Paul Petrino has to be happy, though, with this effort.
Dad's weekend crowd will certainly be back here at the start of the third quarter as the Vandals are battling the defending conference champs, Georgia Southern. The Eagles 16, the Vandals 13. The conference opener in the Sun Belt Conference between Georgia Southern and the Idaho Vandals. At halftime, we get a chance to hear from Rob Spear, the athletic director for the Vandals, and also Chuck Staben, the president at the University of Idaho. They'll be joining us at halftime. We'll have stats and highlights for you as well. Hope you're enjoying this one. Good ball game between the Eagles and the Vandals. On the campus of the University of Idaho, Sun Belt Conference opener between the defending champion, Georgia Southern Eagles, and the Idaho Vandals. Very entertaining first half, 16-13, Georgia Southern with the lead, and we'll look at some stats and highlights coming up, but it's our pleasure now to welcome in the athletic director for the University of Idaho, Rob Spear. Great to see you, Rob.
Thanks, Bud. Thanks for having me.
It's a fun environment. Dad's weekend and Ag Days, and everybody wearing their black, and they're being entertained, and they're going to be back for the third quarter.
Well, that's what we hope. We hope we get them back in from the parking lot. But what an outstanding atmosphere. And our kids, our student body turned out with their dads, and it's been tremendous. It's tremendous atmosphere tonight. One of the reasons we really decided to have a 6 p.m. kickoff, too, is we wanted to, make it hard on Georgia Southern, let's be honest, but we also wanted to see what it would be like and see what it did to our student body or for our student body, and I think it's successful.
Every time we've done a game here, Rob, you've always want to talk about football, which I can certainly understand. So break down the first half for us, if you would, what you saw, what impressed you? What would you work on if you're Paul Petrino in that locker room?
Well, number one, the same thing that caused us some problems last weekend is that pitch play. But, we had the option 2 weeks in a row here. Our kids are getting better and better. Mike Bresky's done a wonderful job with our defense. Love to hit the long ball a little bit more. Matt missed Desmond there once, but we're moving the ball. We're competing, and what we said and what Paul is preaching to his team this year is let's get the game in the fourth quarter because we're going to be tough, we're going to be physical, and we'll win games. We get them in the fourth quarter.
You see these guys every single day. We get a chance to come in maybe once or twice a year. I can tell a difference just looking at the sideline, the way they're carrying themselves, the way the coaches are talking to the kids. What do you see on a day-to-day basis that's different from perhaps the first couple of years?
It's a 180. I mean, there's an entire culture change in the locker room. The kids bought in to Coach Petrino and his style and what he's teaching. And Paul's a wonderful mentor. I mean, he doesn't get the credit he deserves, but he teaches his kids life skills. They bought in. He's taught them toughness. He's taught them to compete. And I think what you're seeing tonight is we're competing. And that's why we want to get this thing late in the second half. And we feel really good about our chances because our kids are ready.
Rob, the second year of a second stint in the Sun Belt Conference, and as evidenced by what we've seen tonight, very good football played in this conference. Still a good fit for the Idaho Vandals?
It is right now. Everybody asks the question, what's the deal with the Sun Belt? Well, we signed a 4-year deal. They'll evaluate after 2 years. We need to show that we can play in this league, and tonight would make a big statement. But I really think the future for Idaho is really an FBS league out west, and I know there's talk about, and I think that FBS affiliation needs to be part of the Big Sky Conference. I think that's where it goes in the future. Commissioner of the Big Sky says the same thing. So we're in a great position right now to pick where we need to go, and that's exactly why we wanted to stay in the Sun Belt. But listen, we're going to stay in here and make some noise this year and see what happens.
And I know one thing that's very important, no matter where you're playing and at what level, facilities are so important when it comes to recruiting. And this is my first visit to the Kibbe Dome in the football setup for a few years, and it's great to see the changes.
Well, one of the things I'm very proud of is what we've been able to accomplish over 10 years with the practice facility, the locker rooms, the renovation here, the premium seating, the video board, and obviously this year, thanks to the president of the university, we were able to update some office space for football. So every year we've been able to make incremental improvement. Now the big thing is we need to build a basketball arena on the north side, and we have a great president who's made that a priority, and so we're anxious to get that underway and really get basketball out of here. It's going to improve everybody, improve all sports, and really is something the University of Idaho's needed for a long time.
Well, we'll look forward to that, and we'll get a chance to talk to President Staben here in just a moment. Rob, thanks for stopping by, and enjoy the second half.
I will. Thank you, guys.
Rob Spear, athletic director of the Idaho Vandals. 16-13, Georgia Southern with the lead at halftime. We'll continue from the Kibbe Dome in Moscow. Georgia Southern with the advantage over the Idaho Vandals at halftime of this conference opener in the Kibbe Dome in Moscow. Bud Namick along with Bill Ames, joined by the president of the University of Idaho, Chuck Staben.
Thanks very much, Bud.
Great to have you with us.
Good to be here.
This is got to be a fun weekend for you.
Great weekend. We're celebrating Idaho agriculture, very important. We've got a great crowd and a great game.
And enrollment doing what it has to do.
Well, enrollment, we're trying to change the game in Idaho. We're trying to make sure that students go from high school to college, and we've got some exciting things to offer them.
I know you're doing something special with all Idaho high school graduates with a certain GPA.
That's right. So all Idaho graduates, we want to change the default to going to college. So in combination with our state board, we are actually using high school records to admit students to college. And every high school student who meets our admission standards will receive a letter saying, you need to go to college, you're admitted.
And that's got to be a great thing. As a parent, I know that'd be important to know that.
That's right, because we want those conversations around the dinner table to be, go to college, you're in a great university, it's a great value, it'll change your life, come here.
Okay, you don't give me any opportunity to talk to a college president about football.
Yeah.
We put Rob Spear on the spot earlier, so break down the first half for me. What do the Vandals need to do in the second half?
Well, Bill, we need to stop those big plays like we had there, and we're doing great on offense. I'm no expert. It looks like our defense is challenged by their running game, and we're in it, and we can win this.
And Rob mentioned, when we had him, that the tone of the program certainly looks different this year, 2015, than what we saw, when you first came into the role a year and a half ago. What are you seeing with this football program now that may look a little bit different from when you first came in?
Well, one of the things that I see is we've got a coach who really cares about academics, cares about his students very deeply, and I think that's really important. On the field, students feel, I think our student athletes are more competitive. They feel like they can be in the game. They want to be here. I think they're looking great.
Chuck, maybe this is an unfair question in such a short forum that we have, but can you talk about the balance of research versus just teaching students?
Sure. So, but we're a research university. We're the largest research university in Idaho. More than twice the research expenditures of all others combined. Research is the glue that holds our faculty together. We're not just teaching what's known, we're constructing the future of what's not yet known, and then we transmit that to our students. Critical for us to do. And you see us extending that out to agriculture, to other industries. We have some great researchers on campus.
Well, we like what's going on at the University of Idaho. Appreciate you stopping by.
Bud, thanks very much, Bill. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Idaho Marching Band has just completed their performance at halftime on Dad's Weekend, and yeah, the future's so bright, you gotta wear shades. 16-13, Georgia Southern with a 3-point advantage over the Idaho Vandals. We'll take a look at some of the first half stats, and Bill will tell you what's gonna happen in the second half as we continue from the Kibbie Dome in Moscow, Idaho. With Bill Ames, great to have you with us at halftime as Georgia Southern leads Idaho 16-13. Bill Ames, let's take a peek back at your keys to this game and see how they've played out with the way this game has gone.
Well, I'll tell you what, the tempo really is favored both teams. It seems at different periods of this first half, Georgia Southern looked like they were in control, and then Idaho would come back and do some of the same. So certainly not something you would check for Georgia Southern at this point. Turnovers other than the block punt, they really haven't created any. Idaho's done a nice job of taking care of the football. We've seen an example of Idaho struggling once again there on the goal line, having to settle for 3. They need to punch that in, get 7 out of it. And defensively, it's been a bend but don't break. They certainly bailed this offense and special teams out early, kept them in the ballgame when it looked like it wasn't going to go all that well for the Vandals. So all in all, holding to form here in this first half.
Well, especially very early in this football game when the Vandals were forced to punt. And Austin Rico, who is one of the more outstanding punters in the nation, all of a sudden saw all this pressure, and the punt was blocked.
Yeah, we're a minute into this football game, and you see this, and certainly the crowd not sure what's going to happen. But again, we talked about this defense bailing them out. Great job there with the interception from Clark. And then Linehan right on the money to Epps there down the sideline. But here comes that man down the middle of the field for a big score.
83 yards for Matt Breida in the first half, 118 yards on 8 carries and that one scamper. But a big half for Desmond Epps. He's wide open, and Linehan finds him. 6th career 100-yard game for Desmond Epps. He has 5 catches for 111 yards and that touchdown. 16-13, Georgia Southern with a 3-point advantage. We're about ready to start the third quarter. The Eagles will have the football first. On SWX is brought to you by Dishman Jeep, Spokane's Jeep headquarters. And by Noodle Express. Express yourself with signature dishes exclusively at Noodle Express. Call ahead, pick up, or dine in at Noodle Express. Idaho won the toss and took the football first. That first possession didn't go very well, as you saw with the blocked punt by Austin Rico, but the defense able to hold the Eagles to a field goal. Now the Eagles will get the football first, and with the 2 quarterbacks, Kevin Ellison and Fabian Upshaw, as you see the Vandal offense on the sideline, if you're Willie Fritz and Georgia Southern, which quarterback you go with, or do you still mix them up?
You know, it's interesting. I'm not sure, but it looked like they had a clear plan there in the first half, each quarterback getting 2 series, and then it was Ellison who finished out the first half. So does that mean Upshaw gets to start, or did they want to evaluate the play and go with the guy who's got the hot hand? I'm not sure either one really separated themselves.
Here's the kick by Austin Rico, brought to you by Dishman Jeep. To the 3-yard line. Keaton up the gut. Tries to bounce it outside, and the Vandals do a good job of coverage. Anytime you make that stop before the 25, you've won the battle. Quentin Bradley heading out for the Vandals, the senior out of San Antonio, Texas, who's the leader on this Vandal defense. Ellison will get the start at quarterback.
Yeah, it's been a quiet first half for Bradley. 2 sacks on the year. Nothing here in this first half, but really Georgia Southern hasn't given this defensive front or linebackers much of an opportunity for sacks, as it is Ellison who's going to start this second half.
Keaton comes in motion. Ellison, the keeper, to the spot vacated by the motion man and gets outside near a first down.
We saw a lot of option there in that first half out of Georgia Southern. Here they come with the read option. See a whole lot of that. They certainly ran a lot of that during warm-ups, and once again Ellison makes a nice read. We saw him do a pretty good job. It was much better in the second set of series that he came out after Upshaw spelled him.
5 carries for 35 yards for Ellison now for Georgia Southern. Junior out of Cornelia, Georgia. Gives it to Breida. And again, for the most part, Bill, those plays up the gut, the Vandals have defended well.
Yeah, they really have. I mean, with the exception of just the one long scoring play in that first half, Idaho's did a nice job. They're really committing a lot of players, 8 in the box much of the game, trying to slow Breida down. Georgia Southern doesn't really show that they've got much of a extended passing game. Everything pretty much underneath if they choose to throw the football.
Glenn Antoine in at the nose tackle position for the Vandals now, spelling Ryan Edwards. And Bradley and Lupe Manu on that front line. Little misdirection in the pitch, and Breida finds a seam. First down into Vandal territory. Cuts it back. Again. Look at that. That play was bottled up, and Breida turns it into a score.
Well, he's just going to lay there and get some rest, and he certainly earned it. What a run by Breida. Matt Breida, yeah, he's going to open up the chest and show off the big S, because that play right there, folks, you may see that a few times on all kinds of different sports networks. I mean, just his patience, his vision, the way he turns. We'll get another chance to take a look at it. As you said, Bud, he was bottled up. Tremendous run. Wow.
Low snap, but Dobson able to get it down, and Hanks boots it through, and it's a 10-point Georgia Southern lead. 23-13, a quick strike again from Breida and the Eagles. $78-yard drive for Willie Fritz's Georgia Southern Eagles, capped off by the 66-yard scamper by Matt Breida, who now has 11 touchdown runs of over 50 yards and 25 touchdowns in his last 15 games, Bill Ames.
And you saw early in that play, you saw Ellison just with a quick little juke to the left to hold that defense, and still Idaho reacts well, but Bud, sometimes it's not about X's and O's. It's just all about effort and ability and athleticism. And you saw a couple of different times the way that he was able to make cuts and then recover so quickly and just simply outrun several members of that Idaho defense. It's an outstanding effort for Breida.
We have seen over the years so many guys that are wonderful college football players, but it just doesn't translate to the NFL. How about for Breida?
Well, he looks like he's got that kind of that toughness to him, and again, that the ability to stop. Only a junior. Who knows what he could do with one more year of college football. Certainly has a lot of games left to play in his junior season. What strikes me, Bud, is you look at a lot of these big college football programs, these FBS schools down especially in the Southeast, and how this guy got away from those schools. Hard to believe.
Vandals will open up operation on their own 17-yard line, now facing a 10-point deficit once again. Matt Linehan in the first half, 11 of 19, 180 yards and a touchdown. 2 wide receivers left, 1 to the right. Through the hands of Kalen Hightower. Hightower put down the signal for the changeup and got the fastball.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think his hands being up might have been more self-defense than anything else, because Linehan just fired this thing in there, and I'm not so sure if that was Hightower or Cowan that he was going for. Cowan coming in behind on a corner route. Either way, not a very good throw by Linehan. I would imagine Georgia Southern's going to be spending an awful lot of attention on one Mr. Desmond Epps in this second half.
Penny finds some room up the middle. Gets 8 of the 10 needed for the first down.
And this is a part of the Idaho offense that if Georgia Southern does decide to commit more players to that passing game and to Desmond Epps and some of those outside receivers, something's going to have to open up inside. And you saw a good example of it there with the hard running of Penny.
Vandals only average 123 yards rushing, and Penny's almost halfway there himself as the flag flies. What'd you see?
Well, it came out right at the snap, and well, I looked at Matt Linehan, and it looks like somebody might have jumped just a bit early, and that's the signal. So did not make the first down. So I think if Georgia Southern has the option here, they can decline the penalty and force the fourth down. And they're talking about where the spot of the football would be after that third down carry. They're going to decline the penalty.
Illegal formation, 5 men in the backfield. That penalty is declined, fourth down.
Is that the result of a lineman not lined up?
Yep, just
correctly?
an alignment issue. Yep, you've got a lineman who may have just set back a bit too much, and now 3rd and 2. It looks like Idaho could keep the offense on the field. I can't imagine that they're going to run a play here.
Should be fourth down, and it is. Now they changed it. Yeah, it's 4th and 1. Vandals perhaps going to try to draw them off. They're going to go for it. Linehan, Manley. There's that play that you said was wide open in the first half, and they knew they could go back to it.
Well, you know, they've not utilized the tight end at all in this game. And so they do find Manley, but let's talk about just the gutsy call from Paul Petrino. Deep in your own territory, down 10. You know, I don't know that it's desperation. I just think it's, you know, showing your football team in this offense that you've got confidence in their ability to pick up 2 yards whenever you want.
Fresh set of downs. Penny, a couple up the middle. Antoine Williams in on the stop.
And we may look back, but at the 12-minute mark of this third quarter, if Idaho is able to win this football game, that may be a pivotal moment. Going forward on 4th down from your own 30 early in this second half.
2nd and 7 from the 38 for the Vandals. Penny now 14 carries, 55 yards. Linehan going to be sacked for the second time tonight. Ryan George out of Stone Mountain, Georgia, comes off the end and gets the sack.
Well, the way you just say Stone Mountain, Georgia, you know they're going to be tough. And there's a lot of good football players that have come out of that part of the state. They're Linehan, and I think Linehan right now bothered by some kind of a leg issue. He's been limping around here for the last minute or so. And normally you'd see him just step in the pocket. You know, there he tried to bail out and right into the arms of the defender, George.
So now it's 3rd and 17, and that's not a comfortable spot for the Vandals, who are just 1 of 7 on 3rd down tonight. Base rush for the Eagles. Linehan deep over the middle in traffic. Cowan almost made the juggling catch. Matt Dobson a little banged up. He's the guy who had the big pick 6 at the 4th quarter last year to help the Eagles to the victory.
Well, I like the fact that they're trying to go after Cowan, but double coverage here. You can see it from the end zone view. Almost able to come up with the catch, but again, that's not exactly where you would imagine Cowan would be at his most effective. With 3rd 15, you need to take a shot. Unfortunately, Idaho can't leverage the gutsy 4th down call from Paul Petrino.
Rico to kick it away. Driving spiral. Keaton calls for the fair catch and has to make it on the run at about the 23. But now the Eagles have the ball back and they lead it by 10. And 10:35 left in the 3rd quarter. Still a lot of football to be played, but if Georgia Southern can take the football down the field, as you see Paul Petrino chatting with his offense, if the Eagles can put some points on the board here, it puts that much more pressure on the Vandals.
Well, it really does. I mean, Idaho's been able to keep it right in that single-digit area. Even when they were down early 13-3, they were able to, you know, stay close, stay within distance. a score here, a touchdown from Georgia Southern, then things start to change if you're Idaho. The game plan changes, and the way you call your offense may change as well.
Ellison hangs on to the football and picks up 4 or 5. He almost lost it on the exchange. Started to give it away and took it back.
Yeah, didn't look real sure of the handoff, and really did the smart thing. When you're not sure of it, then just keep it and get what you can out of it. And for a busted play, picking up 4 yards on first down, not too shabby.
Ellison 4 of 12 through the air. 35 yards on the ground. Longoria, the motion man. Ellison, good fake on the option, and he's up the sideline. Ciavi can't get him. And Ellison finally out of bounds inside the 20, and Dorian Clark is banged up on the sideline for the Vandals.
Again, you're going to see it here, a little misdirection. It just shows to the left quickly, comes back out right. And, Idaho has to respect that quick little action. And it just puts them in a tough spot. Lineman able to wall things off, and then you see the speed of Ellison and poor tackling, quite honestly, from Idaho. At the end of that play, as you said, Bud, Dorian Clark, who came up with a big interception earlier in this ball game, still down on that far sideline next to the Georgia Southern bench.
53 yards on that run for Ellison. Georgia Southern now has 334 yards on the ground.
Now, they're numbers that they're accustomed to, and unfortunately for this Idaho defense, numbers that they find themselves accustomed to as well, giving up a lot of big plays.
Paul Petrino with his entire team huddled around him off the sideline as Dorian Clark is being attended to. 9:48 to go, third quarter. Georgia Southern 23, Idaho 13.
It may surprise you to know just how far University of Idaho research has traveled, or how much fun.
Clark taken to the sideline, and that injury even tougher for the Vandals because another DB, Jordan Freisinger, is having his ankle worked on as well by Barry Steele, the longtime athletic trainer here at Idaho. First down for Georgia Southern at the Vandal 19. Ellison keeps it the third time in a row, and this time gets to the 15, gain of 4.
Yeah, as you said, two key defenders sitting right next to each other. They're familiar with one another out in the field, but they certainly don't want to be sitting next to one another on the training table on the sideline, especially against an offense that is running the ball right now. We talk about tempo. This is the kind of tempo Georgia Southern's talking about, running the football.
Georgia Southern had a little trouble running it against West Virginia, but since then they've averaged 400 yards on the ground the last 2 games. Ellison, keeper, wide open, but boy, shoestring tackle that was made by Armand Hawkins. Otherwise, Ellison's into the end zone.
We've seen that now twice. Early in that first half, we saw a very similar play where it looked like Ellison had a clear path to the end zone, and out of nowhere, here comes Hawkins to trip him up. He's bailing out that defense of Idaho. Nice play by Armand Hawkins.
3rd and 3 now for Georgia Southern. Ellison's carried it all 4 plays of this drive, which started on their own 24. Vandal crowd making as much noise as they can. Their team down by 10, trying to keep within sight of the Eagles. They'll go Wildcat as Ellison flexes out of the formation. Snap it right back to L.A. Ramsby. And the Vandals do a good job defending it. Ramsby will not get the first down.
Boy, and I'll tell you,
yeah,
if they had any confidence in that young man throwing the football, all he needed to do was just push that thing out to Ellison to the outside, because Idaho didn't go with him at all. They didn't believe for 1 second that Ellison would get this football, and they were right, and were able to hold them to no gain. Big fourth down here for the defense.
See if Ellison gets a snap this time. I don't think he goes in motion this time. Got James Dean in the backfield as an H-back on the left. Ward, the other tight end, is on the line of scrimmage on the left side.
Single coverage on the outside.
Ramsby breaks a tackle, gets the first down. Keeps pushing inside the 5 to the 2. Vandals had a chance to snuff that one out.
You had 8 people in the box, and even that safety, the 9th player, crowding, so technically you've got 9 people there. You've got to be able to make a play here. Really nothing complicated for Georgia Southern, just great running, great vision from Ramsby.
Saw Mark Mian, sophomore out of Mission Viejo, knifed in but couldn't get enough for Ramsby to slow him down. First and goal, Georgia Southern. Ramsby driven back. Well, he spun and thought he was going to get into the end zone, but Armand Hawkins said no.
Now Hawkins has come up with a couple of very big plays as Georgia Southern now rushes players on the field, going with a little bit of a jumbo package here.
Vandals answer by bringing Kevin Shelton in.
Isaiah Sacey comes into the ball game at a fullback.
The freshman Fields, touchdown, Georgia Southern.
What a push by that Georgia Southern offensive line. You saw black jerseys 5 yards deep in the end zone, laying on the turf. Look at this. If we get a chance to take another look at it, this offensive line just dominated on this series, and great running as well. Look at it again. Again, look at the push here. When you have that many defenders laying on their backside in the end zone, that's going to result in a touchdown.
And one of the guys you just saw after that extra point tacked on walking off with Fields was Jeremiah Culbreth, a 6'3", 300-pound true freshman starting on that offensive line.
They're growing big in Georgia.
30-13, Eagles lead it over the Vandals. (30-13), Georgia Southern has stretched the lead with 2 touchdowns on 2 drives in the third quarter. Bill, here's a look at some of the other action. How about Brett Rippon, the true freshman for Boise State, wins his first start.
Taking advantage of his opportunity for sure. We've had a chance to watch him in the Spokane area for the last 3 years. Special young man, great quarterback, and didn't know that he'd get an opportunity this early down in Boise, but taking full advantage of it. Central Washington taking care of business against Simon Fraser. Cal comes up to Seattle, gets a big win against the Huskies. Great offense there, Jared Goff, a special quarterback, probably the best quarterback in the country.
He's a good one.
He absolutely is. And
Eastern Washington a little surprise.
Yeah, Eastern Washington having trouble down in Sacramento. Boy, they've been through the gauntlet. They're playing some tough teams early here in 2015.
Sacramento State coached by a guy who grew up 8 miles from here, Jody Sears, who grew up in Pullman. Deep kick by Hanks, and the Vandals will start at their own 25-yard line. Very much in need of putting some points on the board to get back into this football game.
Well, this offense needs to get something going. This is when perhaps the playbook changes a bit. You start to take a few more chances down here now. Really 3 scores. They've got to get something going, and especially given the fact that this defense for Idaho really beat up. You've got 3 starters now out of this. Well, it looks like they may be out of this game. If nothing else, dinged up and impacted by injury.
And as you mentioned, Linehan limping a little bit, and Jake Luton has been warming up on the sideline. Linehan is in right now. Little stunt on the line by the Eagles creates some pressure. Linehan rolls away from it and finds Deion Watson close to the first down marker, and Linehan again up a little slow.
And he's just taking all kinds of shots. I mean, you love the courage of this kid. It does a nice job to find Watson for a nice gain on first down, but noticeably limping back there as he tries to get everybody back together. And nice job by Watson just to sit down there as well, and defensive back loses him.
Handoff, and Penny gets the first down for the Vandals.
And you get the feeling with this offense, Bud, that Penny is more of a secondary option to the passing game, but you know, the way he runs the football with great determination, always moving those legs, he may be earning himself a few more carries as we get along here in this 2015 season.
Well, we haven't seen a whole lot of Aaron Duckworth, who had 3 touchdowns a week ago.
Kind of go with the hot player, and Penny seems to be that guy here today.
First down, Vandals. Penny eludes 1 tackle. And again, a good 9-yard gain on first down.
Now, very versatile. You see it there. He's been able to do it on the ground, but also out of the backfield. That's his third catch. Nearly 40 yards.
So another second and short. Penny up the middle. Falls forward to get the first down, I believe, depending on the spot, but it looks like he has it.
Again, moving quickly. This is how Idaho likes to play. It has nothing to do with the score or the time. They like to keep that pace going. That's how they practice as well.
They do move the chains for a first down. 4:30 left in the third quarter. Vandals down by 17. Need to put some points on the board. And we're going to see the flags fly. Yes, we will. Caleb Williams out of Tyler, Texas. Got a little too much of Kalen Hightower before the football arrived.
Well, the only thing that surprised me there, Bud, is that we only see one flag thrown. Usually when that kind of play is made, there's multiple flags coming out because everybody saw it. I guess they were satisfied with just the one shot and they could keep it in their pocket. But clearly, pass interference. And a great job by Linehan again, just zipping that ball in there. Just that back shoulder.
Saw a good shot at Jordan Rose, the strong tackle, sophomore out of Freeman High School in Spokane area. Doing a good job to protect Linehan that time. First down in Georgia Southern Territory. Linehan has time, wants to throw deep for Epps into double coverage, and he still caught it. Touchdown, Idaho.
The more I watch this young man, the more convinced I am that he's a guy that can play on Sundays next year. He's got that kind of ability to not only run, but great hands, really looks the ball in there. And Georgia Southern, we thought they may commit more players to Desmond Epps. They did that, but credit Linehan for the great throw. And I really thought this was going to be defended, but again, perfect throw. Quincy Smith doesn't look back. You've got to do a better job if you're Quincy Smith looking back for the football, especially when those hands go up for Epps. Maybe they've got to add a third, boy, but he is having one heck of a game.
44 yards. Linehan now 250 yards through the air tonight. He's now in the top 10 career passing at Idaho.
And maybe the best thing about that, Bud, is the fact that they went quickly. Able to put points on the board, get this crowd back into the game. Certainly the defense is going to have to do their job now. The offense certainly giving them something to feel good about.
Yeah, 5 plays, 75 yards, and they did so in a minute 55. Rico to kick it off. Goes for that high kick. Returnable. Here comes Keaton. Has a little hole this time. Can't keep his balance as he spins. But the Eagles will have good field position.
Well, this Idaho defense now has to play off of what their offense has been able to do.
Looking down my chart to see if the Vandals have forced the Eagles into a 3 and out, and they have not so far tonight.
Well, that would be a great time. Perhaps take some chances in the run game, maybe some run blitzes out of the Vandals to slow this offense down. Now with Upshaw in at the quarterback position.
Fakes the handoff to Breida. Vandals were not fooled though. Great pursuit by Armand Hawkins. Look at the legs of Upshaw. You don't need to see the number to know that it's a different quarterback. Spindly might be kind.
Not a lot of meat on those bones, for sure. Again, not much of a throw, only 5 of 19. But he's got some speed and provides a little bit of a different look for a defense, but a nice start there for the Idaho defenders.
He's got Matt Breida behind him. Breida came into this game averaging 9.8 yards a carry, leading the nation. He's averaging 18.5 a carry in this game, and he gets it here. And that average is going down because Hawkins has done it again. 2 plays in a row for Armand Hawkins.
I tell you, if there's a defender for Idaho that we're going to give a game ball to, this is the man right here. Hawkins comes up, and he's just throwing his body out there. He's able to get around the block of Keaton. It just happened too quickly for Keaton now. A team that does not like to throw the football, forced to a 3rd and 15.
Breida had only been thrown for 1 3-yard loss prior to tonight. That was a 10-yard loss. He's been thrown for a loss twice. And he's also had a couple of big runs. Upshaw pitches it to the wide receiver who doesn't know what to do with it in the backfield.
Yeah, you can tell that's not a comfortable thing for Johnson.
Well, I said they hadn't had a 3 and out.
The first one of the game, not a bad time for that to happen. You called it, partner. And they get there by just flying around. Georgia Southern goes with the new quarterback, and you know the coach Fritz, Willie Fritz, had a plan coming into this game. Go with it, although Ellison did just a great job of leading the offense with the running game. You wonder if perhaps Ellison's going to be coming back in next time Georgia Southern gets the football.
Eagles have used 2 punters on the year. This is Flynn who gets the opportunity here. Not a very good kick, but gets a pretty good roll. But the Vandals will have decent field position at their own 33, 34-yard line. Minute 59 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Vandal fans hoping they get a chance to toot that Viking horn again. 30-20, 10-point Eagle lead.
Well, and we talked to Rob Spear at halftime about just the environment of this football program and how it's changed over the last couple of years. You can see Linehan still limping coming out of the field. Unfortunately, his arm seems to be perfectly fine, but it's in these moments where you can really see the difference. I don't know, Bud, that if you look back last year or the year before, if this team got down 17 in the 3rd quarter, that they would have the kind of fight that we're seeing here. So good to see in this Idaho Vandal program.
Penny running behind that front line of Sandberg, Matlock, Woods, Rose, Trevelyan, Calvin White seen some time in there.
Yeah, it's an offensive line that's stayed relatively healthy in the early part of the season, and that continuity is huge for a program to be able to look next to the guy playing with you and have it be a familiar face.
Penny again met finally at the 41, pickup of about 3. Rotation of Bernard Dawson, Ryan George, Jay Ellison, Darius Sapp, Lenny Richardson. They've all been tough on that line for the Eagles.
The other thing Rob Spear told us, he just wanted to get this game into the 4th quarter and have a chance, and I think his team is going to be able to give him that, hoping that Georgia Southern looks at the clock and realizes it's almost 11 o'clock my time, 11:30 in the evening in Georgia. I'm tired. That's what Rob Spear's counting on.
3rd and 3 for the Vandals. They've not converted many 3rd downs. Here comes pressure. Linehan gets it away. Epps can't hang on. Had the hands on it, but good pressure from Darius Jones.
Well, I love the play call, and Petrino now with another decision to make. 4th and 3.
Rolled the dice before. Is he doing it again?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think he likes how his defense played in that last series, and perhaps that's given him enough confidence to put the punting team out there and try to pin him deep with the special leg of number 5, Austin Rico.
Yeah, frustration for the Vandals and Linehan, though. They go 3 and out after their defense got them the ball back on a 3 and out.
Yeah, and you can see it in Linehan. He really wants that throw back.
Vandals shift to the unbalanced formation. It's a fake. Rico throws it up for grabs, and it's incomplete. Had a receiver.
Well, he is a gambler after all. And I don't mind the decision. I'm just not so sure that that was meant to be a pass 20 yards down the field when you only needed 2 yards. Austin Rico, a very good athlete, an all-state basketball player. So you know that he has the speed to be able to pick up a first down with the legs, but Georgia Southern reads it extremely well. Just, again, Georgia Southern ready for it.
Yeah, it looked like a play they'd practiced, option, run it if it's there, throw it if it's there. L.A. Ramsby, not going to get much, might get progress of about a yard.
And Willie Fritz, as we talked about, going with the 2-quarterback system. Well, Upshaw's time only lasted 1 series. He likes what he's seen out of Ellison, and he should. As we get down to the end of this 3rd quarter, I expect we'll probably see Ellison the rest of this game.
Ellison will not be in any hurry to snap the ball, and that will be the end of the 3rd quarter. So the Vandals within reach, down by 10. Could have been closer. They've been able to convert something offensively on that last series. 15 minutes of football remaining in the conference opener between the Vandals and the Eagles of Georgia Southern, and the Eagles on top by 10. Georgia Southern leading Idaho 30-20 as we begin the 4th quarter. Bill Ames, you see the numbers that Georgia Southern's been able to put up offensively on the ground, and they're pretty much on track right now. They've carried it tonight 35 times, 346 yards and 3 touchdowns, but some folks would say the Idaho defense has done better than some folks thought they would against this rushing attack.
You know, it's really just 3 big plays, isn't it? I mean, for the most part, they've been able to ball them up, but it's those big plays that Idaho in the run game has just not been able to control.
Ellison, the play fake, wants to throw deep. B.J. Johnson makes the catch at the 5. Coverage was good by Hawkins, but just a good throw and a good catch, and Johnson slow to get up.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on Johnson. Not sure why they're not going to this young man a bit more, because they've thrown to him 4 times now. I believe that's his 4th catch. And each one of them very nicely done. And once again, just throws the ball up there knowing that that big receiver can go up and get it. And he does. Comes down hard on that left side.
To show you just how little they usually throw the football, Bill, B.J. Johnson was the leading receiver for Georgia Southern last year, and he had just 21 catches. He led them in receiving one year with 12 catches.
Well, they've got a pretty good receiver there. They may want to consider throwing to him a bit more coming into this game, but he had 4 on the season, I believe. 4 catches on the season. So he's now matched that in this one game, and you can see a good athlete. You hope for them that they'll be able to get him back on the field.
Had a touchdown against the Vandals a year ago, and that 36-yard gain gives Georgia Southern 1st and goal at the 5-yard line.
This is part of the field where B.J. Johnson, not as critical for this offense. They've been able to do it with a very stout run game.
Ramsby is the running back. Ellison will keep it and stroll into the end zone. Just a slight fake that froze the defender.
I'm really impressed with the way Ellison has run this offense. After those first couple series, looked erratic the first couple series, took a chance or had a chance to look at Upshaw, run the option, and since then he's come back in and has really been dynamic running the football. Great decisions, great athleticism. Those 2 things combined lead to 6 points. And Idaho, after an electric play from Epps, find themselves once again down by 3 scores.
Very quick start for the Eagles of the 3rd quarter, and a quicker start in the 4th quarter as Ellison scampers it in for the touchdown, the 4th rushing touchdown for Georgia Southern as they try to win their 11th straight conference game. They were perfect 8-0 under Willie Fritz, first-year head coach a year ago, who's never lost a Sun Belt Conference game.
And they're going to be something to be reckoned with. And a lot of these players we're watching out here tonight, underclassmen, juniors, sophomores, some freshmen, some true freshmen. So the future looks bright for this Eagles football program, about as bright as their past has been. It's, a lot of good football players down there in that part of the country. And Coach Fritz is putting together another special group.
Some other scores from the Sun Belt Conference this week. Appalachian State with a big win over Old Dominion. Alabama takes care of business against Louisiana Monroe. Arkansas State on the short end against the Rockets, 37-7. Arkansas State will be hosting the Vandals next week.
I think one of the key things for the Vandals as they continue to, certainly plenty of time in this game, but one of the things as you look at it next week, some of the injuries that are starting to accumulate on that defensive side, and players that are getting an opportunity here, may be called upon for more minutes. An away game next week.
Line drive kick that'll still be live in the end zone. It's going to be a touchback. Not one of the usual touchbacks you'll see, but the ball will come out to the 25-yard line.
I'm not sure that official helped him out all that much. But fortunately for Idaho, comes out to the 25. We'll see if they can't put some points on the board quickly once again, because it's really getting to a point now where they have to.
With the Vandal quick strike ability, there's enough time, but they need to do so quickly and need the defense to be able to step up, and that's become tougher, as you said, with the injuries mounting on the defensive side of the ball for Mike Bresky, the defensive coordinator.
And no Desmond Epps to start this series. Standing right next to the coaching staff, so maybe just a group that they're deciding to go with here on first down. I expect we'd see him in there here very soon.
Nardo Govan in on the defensive line for the Eagles. Also Jamal Johnson, hometown guy out of Statesboro. Matt Dobson, who was tweaked an ankle a little bit earlier, running at safety still. Linehan has thrown for 250 yards and a couple of scores. There's the quickness of Duckworth, able to pick up a few yards. As slow to get up as linebacker Chris De La Rosa for the Eagles.
Yeah, two very different types of running backs. You see Duckworth here with the speed, built lower to the ground. Penny more of a strong runner, likes the contact, likes to run over you. Right now, going with the slasher, Duckworth.
Picked up 7, but the clock continues to run. Linehan going deep for Epps. One-on-one coverage. Epps trying to turn back, can't make the catch. And the contact, I believe, was incidental. The Vandal fans don't agree. The official does, though.
Well, I think the underthrow is what kept the flag in the pocket. Jones, again, good coverage, not turning back, though. These defensive backs for Georgia Southern, I think if they look at film of this game over the next couple of days, he finally gets his head around there, but not until late. I think if Linehan's able to get that thing out there, Epps can run under it and get into the end zone.
Here's one of the stories of this game, Bill. Vandals are 1 of 9 on third down.
First charge timeout.
Georgia Southern called timeout. Didn't like the matchups.
No, and it's interesting, your point about the third down conversions. 20 points on the board, a lot of big plays. It's kind of lost, the problems on third down for Idaho.
Kevin Ellison last year, one of 4 quarterbacks at the FBS level who had 1,000 yards rushing and passing. So far tonight, he has 101 yards through the air on 5 of 13, and he's rushed for 104.
Well, this is a better offense, Georgia Southern, with Ellison in there, I believe. And you got a chance to see both quarterbacks. And Upshaw's done some nice things, but he certainly doesn't do anything near what Ellison can in the passing game. Much bigger threat. And if Ellison can run the offense like we saw him, in that second quarter and beyond, this is going to be a tough offense to stop.
So 3rd and a long 3 for the Vandals here. Eagles show blitz. Here they come. Linehan gets it away, and it's intercepted by the big fella. Jay Ellison with the interception.
Well, I'll tell you what. Big number 99, Jay Ellison. It says 305. I think that might have been maybe several weeks ago, because he looks all of that. And really just a situation where they do bring pressure, but a lot of times teams will do that and then drop that nose tackle, confusing the quarterback. Quarterback thinks he's got a spot to throw it to, and the big man just drops back there. It's some great athleticism. You see it there. He a couple steps up, showing rush, and then drops back.
Let's face it, you're not supposed to see a guy that big in coverage.
Oh, well, yeah, absolutely. And Matt Linehan wasn't expecting it.
No, his teammates having fun with him right now. 1st down, Ellison at quarterback. Derek Keaton trying to use his block and can't do it. The ball's loose. Can the Vandals get it before it goes out of bounds? Fans over there say yes. 2nd turnover of the game on Georgia Southern. So the teams trade turnovers and the Vandals will get another chance on offense.
Well, this defense continues to give their offensive counterparts chances, and I think it's going to be Chris Edwards that strips this ball out. As Keaton's just trying to get upfield, doesn't lock it away, and it's Chris Edwards who's able to get the football out of there, and wasn't able to tell on the recovery. So look here, it's be Edwards 24 there that gets a hand in there, rips it free, and then it bounces around a bit. Boy, close to getting out of bounds there, and I think it's number 10, Brock Westlake, who comes up with the recovery.
Let's see if we can see on the replay, because it's being reviewed right now. Did this ball hit the white on the sideline? It's very, very close.
It sure is. Can't really tell from there. Without a better angle, you're going to have a hard time reversing this. Those officials using the same angles that we have here. I think there's 2 things here, but it's whether the ball goes out of bounds, and then did an Idaho player, was he stepping out of bounds when the ball was touched? And I'm not sure what bearing that might have on a call.
The replays we've seen so far, which I believe are the same that the replay official is watching, somewhat inconclusive at this point. And remember, they would have to see enough to be able to turn it over. So right now, this is in Idaho's favor. Matt Linehan waiting impatiently. 15 of 28 for 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception tonight. Elijah Penny's run for 70 yards. Idaho has 340 yards of total offense to 474 for the Eagles.
Which goes to exactly what you were saying, which is inconclusive. When they say that it stands, that just tells you they didn't see enough reason to overturn it. And certainly that's consistent with what we saw as well. Great job there by Edwards to strip that ball out, get a hand in there, and just hold on to it.
Brock Westlake did have the recovery, and the Vandals have the football. Need to do something with it. Down by 17 with 13:28 left to go in the football game.
Paul Petrino seeing something that he wants to change now and gets it out to Linehan.
The slant. Ruben Muella makes the catch.
Linehan really does a nice job of throwing that slant route. We've seen him hit Epps a few times. Really puts it on the money with that throw.
2nd and 1, Vandals go quickly, hand off to Penny, 1st down and more. Near midfield. Chains move, 1st down Vandals. Picked up a dozen on that play. Clock moving again after the chains get set. Penny the catch, not much doing, gets to midfield, but the clock will stop. Penny's been a busy guy, running it and catching it.
Only 4 receivers have had a catch for Idaho here today, but Linehan do a nice job spraying it out amongst those 4. It feels as if there's more players have caught it as Linehan decides to keep here. And boy, what a courageous decision that is, given how we've seen him limping around. The leader of this football team showing you right there why he means so much to this football team.
3rd and 2 now from the 43 after the gain of 7. Antoine Williams, honorable mention, Sunbelt a year ago with the tackle, and that one just never got going for the Vandals, and now they're going to be facing 4th and short.
Yeah, Matt Dobson, who's been doing some limping around of his own, does a nice job of just getting in there, flying in, and trying to hold up. You see the backup, Jake Luton, the freshman out of Lake Stevens, Washington. He's seen a bit of time here, but certainly don't want to see Linehan out of this game at this point.
No, the Vandals want the guy with more experience at crunch time. 4th and a yard under center, Linehan. And a beautiful defensive play, knifing in Chris De La Rosa, the senior out of Florida, to make the stop, and the Vandals are going to turn it over on downs.
Yeah, Penny hoping that he got a decent spot, but I think he actually might have gone backwards, and they won't even measure this. No need to. A good yard short of first down, but this is something that Idaho just simply has to get corrected. Their short down running game just not acceptable at this point, and Paul Petrino going to spend a lot of time this week working on that.
11:38 left to go in the ball game. Georgia Southern Eagles up by 17, and they have the football once again. Just under 12 minutes to play in this one in Moscow, Idaho, with Georgia Southern leading the Sun Belt Conference opener over Idaho 37-20. Some scores, and Bill, I thought it was a typo when I first saw it. Utah's a good ball club, but they're a grinded-out ball club, not an explosive team. 55-13 over Oregon in Eugene.
Boy, in Eugene, Vernon Adams pulled early. We know he's at the broken finger, but certainly we haven't seen things like that happen in Eugene for quite some time.
And another big game for Jordan West as Eastern has come from behind to lead the Hornets of Sacramento State.
And for all of those people out there that thought that Eastern Washington only had 1 receiver, you may have seen the graphic. Kendrick Bourne with over 200 yards of receiving, so perhaps taking advantage of some extra coverage on Cooper Kupp there out of Eastern Washington.
2nd and 9 after the 1-yard gain by Matt Breida. He's had a number of those 1- and 2-yard gains, but he's also had some big ones. 83 yards, 66 yards. Ellison on the option, keeps. Plenty of room across midfield. Spun down, but it's a first down.
Yeah, just a great read once again from Ellison. Saw Bradley fly upfield, takes the pitch man right away, and makes it an easy decision for the quarterback. Again, look at that. Bradley just flies up there. And all Ellison has to do is keep it, because that space that Bradley left is exactly where he wants to run. And again, the decision-making, running the football for Ellison, I think, brought the difference in this game.
And here's something we're going to see for the remainder of the game, Bill. Georgia Southern very, very patient. They're going to use the entire play clock, and they still have 10 seconds left before they snap it. Ramsby up the middle to the 45, but the clock will move under the 10-minute mark by the time it's all said and done. And this ball is snapped.
And as we've talked about, there are a number of defenders, starters for this Idaho defense that are not in this game. Big number 8, Ryan Edwards, starting nose tackle and street clothes now. You saw Dorian Clark leave the game. He's not come back in.
Jordan Freisinger also out. Ramsby running room up the middle, close to a first down. That's all Georgia Southern wants to do right now is just grind it out.
And that's tough on a defense, but I'll tell you, when they're just coming after you play after play after play, running the football, that will wear you down. And Georgia Southern, it may be close to midnight back in Georgia, but they're playing like it's noon right now. They're playing fresh. They're pushing the Idaho Vandals around a bit.
3rd and call at 1. Georgia Southern hasn't been great on 3rd down. They're just 2 of 8. They've made big plays earlier in the series, though. Here's Ramsby. He's got the 1st down and more. Breaks a tackle. Jordan Grabsky. It is Wesley Fields who is the runner on that one.
You said earlier, Fields, a freshman. Ramsby, a sophomore. Breida, a junior.
Position players are young on this team, and it's a young offensive line. Only returning 1 starter, Darian Foreman, from a year ago, and that was a big concern for Georgia Southern coming into the season, but they've certainly done well here tonight. In the red zone at the Vandals 17. Again, just churning those legs and picking up yards. Fields again.
Yeah, they don't stop moving, do they? I mean, it doesn't matter who's back there. They are moving those legs, and at contact, it becomes so important because if a defender doesn't wrap up or somehow you get lost in the wash, all of a sudden you're in that backfield and breaking off a long one. Very well-coached football team in here at Georgia Southern.
Fields gets a breather. Ramsby comes back in. Ramsby 10 carries, 64 yards tonight. Ellison over 100 on the ground as he gets the snap. Nothing fancy. Georgia Southern just content to continue to milk the clock, which is down to 7.5 minutes to go.
And if we get a chance to watch Georgia Southern huddle here, it's interesting, Bud, what they do.
Yeah, I think I've seen it one other time.
Yeah, you see they'll line up here, and Ellison will call the formation, and they go strong and weak. And so these linemen don't necessarily just turn around and line up in the spot. We'll take a look and see what they do here, but they'll flip-flop depending on the call. Now they'll just turn around and line up for this play.
Ellison keeps inside the 10. Another rushing touchdown for the quarterback, Ellison.
Yeah, Idaho forced to just try to crowd things inside. Ellison, once again, reads it perfectly. And with his athleticism, there's just not much they can do. Hawkins has been able to come up with a couple of key stops early. But right now, you're looking at an defense, of Idaho that's just flat out tired. Look like they've been in a battle, and not a lot left in the tank for those guys right now.
Hanks for the extra point. And I don't think we're going to see it on a replay, but it was quite interesting to watch as Ellison scored. The tight end, Jeff Ward, who's 6 foot 255, just flat out drove the cornerback, DJ Hampton, completely off the sideline. You just saw him at the left of your screen, continuing to drive him. Georgia Southern up by 24 now.
He's taking him to the bus.
With the famous Big Idaho Potato Truck.
Celebrating on Dad's weekend, but for the 2nd year in a row, Bill Ames, Georgia Southern has taken a game that was somewhat close going into the 4th quarter and taken control against the Idaho Vandals.
Yeah, just wearing them down with a great running game. Ellison is thrown when needed. Johnson's come up with some big catches, extending drives. So just a very classy effort here out of Georgia Southern this evening in Moscow, Idaho.
Kick is not returnable. The Vandals will begin operation on their 25-yard line. Matt Linehan will come back out on a night where he has passed Eric Heisaw and Mike Harrington to go into the top 10 all-time passing at Idaho. He's got a ways to go. Needs to just about double his career output so far to pass his dad, but as long as he stays healthy, that is going to happen, you would think.
Well, I think if he gets close, Scott may call him up and bring him home. Say, hey, we need you to mow the grass down here in Dallas, kid. Two great quarterbacks in that family.
Linehan directing traffic before the first down snap. Wanted to go deep and nobody open. Now, safety valve, and I think that's Buck Cowan getting his first catch of the night. It is.
And really only the second time that he's been targeted. You're more of an outlet. And what you don't want to see here, and you know, I thought about it as Linehan was running around, Bud, is him taking too many chances where he takes a shot and, you know, takes some kind of further injury. Long season.
Epps' first catch in a while, but that will be enough for a first down. That is his 7th catch of the night. This Vandal crowd was primed, ready to have a lot of fun and explode in the second half of this football game, but unfortunately Georgia Southern kind of took the wind out.
Yeah, it seemed like anytime Idaho came up with a big play or was able to close the gap, Georgia Southern just did a great job of answering.
That ball, Darius White had a better chance of catching than Deion Watson did. Incomplete.
Yeah, there's been some times here this evening when Linehan has really tried to fit a ball in there and maybe overthrown it just a bit. And certainly with a guy like Deion Watson, who stands up there every bit of 6'4", 6'5", throwing it down around his knees is probably not where he wants the football.
2nd and 10, Vandals. Penny, little running room. Gain him about 6, but Georgia Southern probably happy to see that play.
Yeah, they'll take that all night long. I do think, though, talked about it a little bit earlier, I think Elijah Penny is a guy that has earned himself an opportunity to come out here and be the feature running back. He's got 21 carries right now for almost 80 yards. He's had a nice game and really done some nice things out of the backfield as well with 4 catches.
3rd down play for the Vandals. And for a rare time, they will get the first down on a 3rd down play.
Yeah, really impressed with Epps and the way he runs these routes. Really crisp route runner. Probably could have gotten a flag there for a hit out of bounds on Williams. Certainly not necessary, and the coach is right on top of the official as well. No flag.
Penny, pretty good first down gain. Epps had 15 receptions in the opener. Tonight he has 8 for 165 yards.
He'll continue to be the target of this offense, and rightfully so. Perhaps as they get more into the season, they'll start to continue to use Cowan, take some of the pressure off of number 1, because these defenses are certainly going to know where he's at.
Intercepted, and still on his feet is Caleb Williams. Second interception of the night thrown by Linehan, and with 4:10 to go, that was probably the final hurrah for the Idaho Vandals.
Yeah, just a poor throw from Linehan. Needs to throw it to the outside. It didn't look like he and Hightower were really on the same page. By all accounts, looks like that will do it.
4:10 to go in the ball game. Georgia Southern 44, Idaho Vandals 20. Property of Idaho Vandals Sports Properties, LLC, an affiliate of Learfield Sports, LLC. Under rights granted by the University of Idaho. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, reproduction, or other dissemination or use of this telecast, or any part of it without the express written consent of Idaho Vandals Sports Properties, LLC, is prohibited. Georgia Southern Eagle fans have made a long trek from Statesboro to Moscow, Idaho, but they've enjoyed the trip. And we're going to see a lot more running from the Eagles, who've already rushed for 408 yards tonight. Ellison in the shotgun. started to give it to Field, said, "Nah, you're a freshman. I'm a junior. I'm taking it back."
Yeah, they're gonna have a laugh about that one. Certainly up 44-20. Lots to laugh about and smile about for Georgia Southern. I think good read though by Ellison. I saw that defense was flowing to the running back, and it doesn't matter how long it takes you to decide to keep it, as long as it's decisive and there isn't any miscommunication, you're fine.
We were perplexed a bit by Georgia Southern's clock management at the end of the half, and not perplexed at all now as the clock on the play clock is down to 4, down to 3 when they finally do snap it. Wesley Fields, the carry. Matt Breida's night done. 12 carries, 179 yards, 2 touchdowns. He averaged 15 yards a carry. So on the season, he's going to be averaging between 10 and 11 yards a carry.
He's a guy that just, when he gets in the open field, he's got great straightaway speed. We saw that. But also the ability to cut and just make guys miss. Fantastic. And the nice thing for Georgia Southern is they've got 3 options at running back, really, that they can go to so that he doesn't have to carry the load. Really important for an offense to have all kinds of options at running back.
First down, Eagles. Chaz Thornton gets his first carry of the day and gets a couple. We talked about the Vandals who've been injured and haven't been able to play defensively at this point of the game. Another guy who didn't play at all tonight, Jason Jordan, another corner. So they are getting thin. And when you're in a rebuild, as they are doing here with Paul Petrino and Mike Bresky trying to reshape this defense, it's just tough when you have to go to younger and younger players.
Well, that and you also have a situation as it looks like we have some kind of a timeout on the field. Looks like Idaho may have taken the timeout. The other thing that really creates a problem for you, I think, Bud, is that you've got some long road trips coming up, and so your week gets shorter. Your ability to allow guys to recover is limited. You've got you leave, say, on a Thursday perhaps or an early Friday, and that just cuts off valuable time to help guys recover. Plus the fact that you're changing time zones, there's long flights, so some of these guys are dinged up here. They may not be able to go next week because it's so far away.
As we mentioned, next week Arkansas State on the road, then a bye week, but then back at Troy, home with Louisiana Monroe, then back-to-back weeks on the road, New Mexico State, South Alabama, and then that Auburn trip looming still.
They may want to just take up residence in the state of Alabama. They're going to be there a few times this year.
2.5 minutes to go, and the Vandals take another timeout, down by 24. Chaz Thornton, another one of those young running backs for the Eagles. He's a sophomore out of Toccoa, Georgia. Here's a look at what happens for Georgia Southern from here. They will be at Louisiana Monroe, then home to New Mexico State, trying to win a second conference title. This year they are bowl eligible. Last year they put in a waiver trying to get to a bowl. That was denied, so they did not get to play in the postseason. But this year they will have that opportunity.
And they've got some opportunities here in this schedule as you look at it to make some statements as well. At Georgia on November 21st, if they can somehow go in there, maybe not win the football game, but at least show well.
It'll be fun to watch Nick Chubb for Georgia and Matt Breida for Georgia Southern.
Absolutely, and fortunately for them, not a long trip. So they've got a very real possibility, and you watch them here live, they look like a team who could compete in a bowl for sure.
Well, they got thundered by West Virginia in the opener, but remember Ellison didn't play in that game. Made him fairly one-dimensional. Vegas Harley gets his turn at quarterback, and he picks up a first down. It's got to be one of the best names in college football.
Vegas Harley, and he's holding on to that football. Maybe he's had some trouble fumbling because he held on to that thing and went right over to the official and handed it to him.
He's one of those guys that just wants to be on the field. Even though he's a quarterback, he spent some time on special teams.
You know, this is such a program builder for a Georgia Southern. Be able to get your second, third team guys, especially on the road. When it comes to that time where their number is called, it's not going to feel like such a big moment to them. Of course, it's mop-up duty, but really that doesn't matter. Getting out there in the field against a varsity team like Idaho, really meaningful for some of these kids.
Inside of 2 minutes to go now. Vandals with a pretty good pop that time. Still trying to deliver. Thomas Banks, the running back. You look up front, still some of the Idaho starters in this football game defensively. That speaks to the injury situation we talked about.
Yeah, not many options out there for Idaho. And as you think about the Vandals and where they go from here, I really believe, Bud, we talked about being a game, we saw examples of it. They've got to fix their short yardage offense. They've got 20 points. They put some yards up as well, but they're going to get into a lot of 4th and 1, 4th and short situations, both near the goal line and even in the middle of the field, and they've got to be able to convert on those.
Down to a minute left in this one, and Georgia Southern is going to pick up a victory in the conference opener for these two. Georgia Southern will win its 3rd straight. The Vandals will see the momentum slowed after the win over Wofford. Vandals with a tough start to conference play because Georgia Southern and Arkansas State regarded as, if not the top 2 teams in the conference, 2 of the 3 best in the conference.
I think the one thing we still take away, though, from watching Idaho here today is that this program is going in the right direction. The record isn't where they want it, clearly, but they're playing hard. They're competing. We weren't seeing that over the last couple of years. It's taken some time for Paul Petrino to get these kids to buy in, but I firmly believe that they're playing hard, and that's a great place to start if you're going to have a winning football program. So I think things are moving in the right direction for the Vandals.
Paul Petrino and Willie Fritz shake hands in the center of the field following the Georgia Southern victory. Time now to announce tonight's player of the game, sponsored by Fasteners of Washington, Idaho, and Montana. Got bolts, and there he is, Kevin Ellison. Smile on his face because he was very impressive in this game. Bill Ames, 13 carries, 134 yards, 2 touchdowns, including a 53-yarder. And through the air, he was 6 of 14 for 105 yards.
Well, for a 2-quarterback system, for us to go with one of those guys as our player of the game, you wouldn't think that that would be the case. But after a slow start, Ellison really started to figure some things out, made some great decisions running the football, and just really led this football team and made it impossible, I think, but for the coaches to keep him out. I think he really made a statement that he's the guy that needs to lead this football team, and in the second half, he showed you a great example of it.
Happy plane ride home for the Georgia Southern Eagles. 44-20 our final score. Bill and I will be back to wrap it up next.